letu. Tufanye sote bidii, nasi tujitoe kwa nguvu. Nchi yetu ya Kenya tunayoipenda, tuwe tayari kuilinda. Na tujenge taifa letu. Ndio wajibu wetu. Kenya istahili heshima. Tuungane mikono pamoja kazini, kila siku tuwe na shukrani. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Asanteni sana, tunaweza kuketi. Thank you very much. All right, I'm happy to see all of you. Everybody is happy today? All right, kwa nawasihi kwa hisani tafadhali, kabla tuanze rasmi, na wauliza wale wote ambao tumeketi kwa nyuma tuweze kusongea karibu, tupatane, tupishane joto, sisi wote ni wa Kenya, si ndivyo? All right, so at this moment, I'm going to be inviting Pastor Gigi to open with a word of prayer and give us some welcoming remarks. But as he does that, I want to make a quick announcement. I know some people might want to know where their washrooms are, where their restrooms are. Mahali ya kujisaidia, ukitoka nje, unapiga mkono wako wa kulia, alafu utazipata on your mkono wako wa kulia, on your right hand side. So when you get outside, take a right, and then on your right hand side, you'll see the gents and the ladies. And then we'll proceed. I will run this program as fast as I can, because I know leo ni siku yetu, na tuko na maswali. Najua si mko na maswali, ama mna maswali kwa serikali? Tuko na maswali. Tutauliza hayo maswali basi kabla tumalize, and then we'll have also we'll make sure that those who are still getting their passports done and their IDs, that we continue to do that. So Bishop Gigi, at this moment, welcome.
On behalf of Kenyans who live in this area, on behalf of the leadership of this church, and on my behalf, all protocol observed, please feel welcome in this place. Shall we pray? God Almighty, creator of the universe, you have been our help in the ages past, and you are our hope for years to come. We gather as your servants and indeed as people who are proud to be called Kenyans. As we gather, we want to thank you for those who've gone ahead of us, who fought for the independence that we enjoy, those who labor to keep our country proud and standing out in the global world. As we gather, we want to remember those that are going through hard times because of the heavy rains. That God Almighty, you have mercy upon them, and that you may charge all of us to be their help, their refuge. We want to thank you for the leadership that you have given us at this time, that wisdom would prevail. Give them strength, give them perseverance. And for the leaders we have here tonight, we thank you, God, for their traveling mercies. I pray that you bless them, equip them with all the knowledge and wisdom they need to serve these great people. And therefore, tonight, God, be with us, be in our midst, and in the spirit of patriotism, in the spirit of love for our country, let us leave this place energized, motivated, and encouraged to serve you and the land we call Kenya. It is our prayer of faith, and we say it in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. Karibuni sana.
Thank you very much, Bishop Gigi. We also want to thank you as Diaspora for according us this venue. For the first time, as I mentioned to you and to the elder that I met yesterday and the rest, Madam PS, our governor, our senator, our ambassador, any other state you go to, there's no unity than what I've seen in Georgia. I come from Minnesota. But what I've seen in Georgia, when you have leaders who have a vision, leaders who care about their people, I saw how much land this church sits on and the activities that they've done. Stretching from here all the way to the end of the stop sign, there's a youth center across, and they want to keep acquiring more. This is a vision that wherever you go, please pass on this vision so all Kenyans, we can be proud that you're doing something. Asante, Bishop, and your leadership and your church. We appreciate that. So since today we are celebrating Kenya at 60, we do have a small presentation to show you where we have come from as a country. While we're doing that, we'll also have another presentation real quick about one of our products in Kenya, our Kenyan coffee, and then from there we'll jump into speeches. So at this moment, I want to invite Bwana Samuel Cheraisi, who will be leading us through this presentation. For us to kumbuke sentimental moments where we've come from. So Bwana Cheraisi, karibu.
Madam PS, Honorable Governor, our honorary citizen, Senator Veronica Maina, Balosi, and all protocols observed. I'm Jamboni. So mine is simple. Mine is quick. Mine is to tell the story about the Kenya at 60. Kenya, if it was a human being, would be 60 years old. So he'll be looking not so young. But since it's a country, it's an infant, it's a baby. We are sitting in United States, which is 247 years old. And they're still thinking they're like an adolescent. They're still young. So Kenya at 60 is a baby. But though it's a baby, it's in the map of the world. Kenya is known. Whenever I go, when I say I'm from Kenya, they either tell me, are you related to Professor Wangari Maathai, or Kipchoge Keino, or Lupita Nyong'o? I always, depending on who I'm talking to, I tell them I'm related to all of them. Okay, let me go real quick through the slides. Hold on, get them ready. I'll open on my phone. Okay, a second. Are they ready? Okay. So Kenya at 60. We'll start with the pre-independence. As I said, it's an infant. An infant begins with before they are born. Pre-independence Kenya goes back to, I abbreviated it. If I went back all the way out, I've gone to 1901 or something. I did not go there. I just went to 1944. That is when Kenya African Union, KAU, was formed. This was a political party to champion the independence of Kenya. You know the rest of details. This is not going to be a historical lesson. It's just quick rundown through it. So in 1947, Jomo Kenyatta, the KAU leader, 52 to 53. I'm not going to read each because you can see for yourself in the slide. So I'll jump into 1960, where they had state of emergency. That's when the British thought watauzia wa Kenya uoga. So wakaweka state of emergency. Lakini wa Kenya hawakununua uoga. It was too cheap. We don't fight cheap stuff in Kenya. So they did that. We were resilient. They arrested everybody. They locked them down in Kapenguria. They did not die. So we went to 61. They had to free Jomo Kenyatta. 63, Kenya, we gained independence. We went to 64, we got the Republic. Republic of Kenya was formed. And 1966, of course, the story of Kenya has not been straightforward. It's not been linear. We've had our own hiccups, just like an infant baby. You know, we crawl, we fall, and we rise and keep going. So 66, Mr. Odinga left KANU and formed a KPU. Those were political wrangles, which are still present even at the moment. So, but in 1968, even if Kenya was like 5-year-old, our presence was already being felt in the world during the Mexico Olympics. You can play that video of Kipchoge Keino winning the Mexico Olympics. As it plays, I keep going. Then 1974, President Kenyatta was re-elected. And then a few years later, he went to be with the Lord in 1978. And then in 1982, was another equal. You know, around that time, 1980, there was an epidemic of food in Africa. Every president was being judged and right on that. Almost got to Kenya. Yes, it did. But so you see, Kenya in 1968, 5 years after independence, we were stamping our authority in the world. Around that time, let me digress. Around that time, the theory in the running world was that a black person, an African, cannot run like a white man in long distance. They said his heart was not formed that way. They will die. But right now, they're changing the story. They're saying there's something wrong with Kenyans. They should be secluded to run on their own because they're so superior. Anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going to the next slide. we were in the Moi era, right? In 1988, again, Olympics.
First time, the bend.
We were registering our presence like nobody's business. I'm just taking one video. Otherwise, we won a lot. We had Googie and all that. Coleraine, winning like nobody's business. That's Kenya.
Elliott stretching through in fourth reigning champion. Peter Elliott, the World Championship silver medalist. Get passed by Bosa, and Cruz looks to see who it is.
Watch that,
Elliott, but he went the long way round. A Wheaton now. Known Kenyan comes through to win it. Cruz second.
So,
Elliott fourth.
as we went from 82 and all that, we went through the political turmoil of which ended in 1992 when the multi-party system was reintroduced back. So they did election in 92. President Daniel Moi won the elections, the multi-party elections. And I'll punctuate that too. In 92, we had another Kenyan dominating in the Olympics. We can play that.
Stadium quietens and away they go. The first men running lanes, they're breaking the back straight, so who's going to make it? Kiprotich has gone off fairly quickly, and Barbosa. There's the breaking point, and it's Tanui going third, and Johnny Gray now taking it on.
So,
second, Tanui third, Benvenuti fourth, and Curtis Robb next outside as they approach the bell. Gray leads, Barbosa in second place, Tanui third, Kiprotich four, Everett five, Robb six, 49.9, he wins in America, and he's being allowed to control it. It's Johnny Gray, America down in fourth, and Robb's gone five, past Mark Everett. Curtis Robb improving all the time, the teenager. 200 left, Gray leads. Barbosa second, Kiprotich now third, Tanui four, Robb five. These fall away some 10 metres out from Robb, and the medals between them. Kiprotich goes wide, but Tanui now responds. Gray's got a problem. It's Kiprotich on the outside, and here now, Tanui. It's Kiprotich and Gray and Tanui now coming through in the final slides. What a battle between the Kenyans. Tanui wins, Kiprotich second, Gray third.
Has been better than other countries in the neighborhood. The others were not doing the elections. They were using the gun and all that. Our neighbors, some of them barely had a country, even until now. So we came to 98, we had the worst terror attacks in Kenya. We lost several people, including my teacher, whose name was Muthegi Njiru. If you read his articles in Kenya Times, he used to write articles with Waome Mutai. If you can remember Waome Mutai, the Whispers. So he was with Muthegi Njiru. So I lost a teacher there. We go straight to 2000, where we also stamped our authority in Sydney. You can see.
And Ruben Koskai in 2000, but only after an almighty tussle.
That's Kenya. 1, 2, 3. Kenya the infant. Competing with the giants. And still beating them like nothing. So we came to President Kibaki era. 2002, December elections. President Moi's term was coming to a terminal end. That is, he was not going to run again. So President Kibaki won overwhelmingly against Uhuru Kenyatta. That was another smooth transition of power for Kenya. 2004, Wangari Maathai won the Nobel Prize. Do you have a picture of Wangari Maathai there somewhere? Oh, I was looking for the video, but I think he had the picture. But anyway, Wangari Maathai, my relative, won Nobel Prize
our planting partner in Kenya.
Environmental work. That's her.
Wangari died in 2011. It's too late to meet her now. But it's not too late to meet the
That's the face of
people
Kenya right
whose
there.
lives she changed.
That was
and
not
is still changing.
award ya huruma. She earned it. She protected the environment in Kenya. And in 2005, we tried to introduce a new constitution. There was a referendum. It lost. The voters rejected the proposed constitution. It was seen as, it was called banana versus orange. So again, Kenyans decided their affairs using the ballot, not the bullets. So in 2007, that's, as I said, we, I'm going to say the good, the bad, and the ugly. In 2007, we had another ugly incident in Kenya where there was a disputed elections. Brother turned against his brother. Several people died. That's 2007. Let me run through. Okay. Let me be faster because the time is not on my side. Let's go to the next one. New constitution was approved in 2010. We go all the way to 2010. Kenya approved this constitution, which gives us governors, senators, MCAs, and the counties. Let's go to 2012 Olympics. You can see how we did in London. We're almost done. You see, we're almost done. So in that place, we go all the way to President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure. Went from 2013 to 2017. The new things there I can remember is we had our key heroes all over the world too. We had Lupita Nyong'o won big awards in Hollywood. And then we go to
I'm honored to
2017.
12 is
Uhuru won again. Right there. We're in Kenya. Is that it? That is the Kenyan right there. So we got 2022. We had an election again. President William Ruto won. Peaceful transition of power happened. And before you play that Faith Kipyegon video, when Kenya gained independence, the world record for 1500 was held by a British lady. I think the record was 4 minutes, 15 seconds. Okay, let's close with
seconds. The pacing
with that video
here in Florence, trying to be a little bit more even.
That day in Monaco. Can she execute today? I love the pacemakers.
Flecker as they go through in two. When she won in Monaco and set that world record, look at the distance.
And you can see the wave lights. She is absolutely racing right now. Not against her competitors, against the clock.
3:05.28, about half a second slower than Dibaba when she won in Monaco and set that world record. Look at the distance now she's got between herself and Muir and Hull. And she comes into final stride. And that green light, which is 3:51.15 pace, is also losing a race with Kipyegon off the final turn, less than 100 to go. Everybody on their feet here. The world record is 3:50.07. Faith Kipyegon.
Asante sana jameni, makofi kwa Kenya 60. Asante bwana Chiraisi.
fastest of
Nimeshukuru.
all time.
One of the hardest things that I have as my job as my MC is to make sure that everybody keeps time. But I couldn't really get him off the stage because tunajivunia kuwa Mkenya, si ndivyo? So at this moment, I'm going to be inviting Esther Kariuki to just talk a little bit about the coffee in Kenya. And then I know there's a presentation here for Chamwad. I will give you, instead of 6 minutes that you had asked me, I'll give you only 4 minutes for that. So now we continue with the whole program. Esther, karibu.
Thank you, MC. Madam PS, Your Excellency, our Governor, our Senator, all protocols observed. I would like to quickly make the case for Kenyan coffee. It should be a no-brainer to you, our Kenyans in the diaspora. And in continuation of the good story of Kenya winning, you know that our coffee is the best in the whole world. You know that undisputedly. And as we continue to celebrate Kenya at 60, you know our coffee farmers, our cotton farmers, our sisal farmers, and all our farmers built our great nation immediately after independence. And they continue to struggle to build our nation even today. My name is Esther Kariuki. I'm a director at the new Kenya Planters Cooperative Union. I know most of you remember KPCU, but I'm also here as a farmer, a coffee farmer in Kenya. Our country has gone through coffee reforms. For those of you that have been following up, we started coffee reforms in 2016. The 5th administration of our president, William Samoei Ruto, championed by our Deputy President and the Council of Governors, whom I'm accompanying here today, led by the Governor of the great county of Tharaka Nithi, have been at the forefront of reviving coffee sector in Kenya. So I had prepared a presentation. I think the team is struggling to put it up. I wanted you to see the numbers so that you can all get angry and do your part. People imagine that, exactly, allow me to go here. I know most of you are burdened by sending money home every time for medical, for upkeep for your people back home. But do you know that with an acre of coffee, you plant 540 trees, that tree should produce not less than 20 kilos. That is 10,800 kilos. If you only pay the farmer 100 shillings, nowadays we like to call it the $1, because the dollar is now going up, but at just 100 shillings, that's 1 million shillings from an acre of land in Kenya. If you do at 152, that's 1.5 million. For an acre, a farmer should not spend anything more than 40% cost of production. And if you divide that by 12 months, that is 648,000, coming to 54,000 a month, coming to 3,000 shillings a day. So we are making a case for coffee so that as you send money home, coffee is grown in 33 counties out of 47 counties in Kenya. So in every county, your county, you can literally support your people back home to set up the coffee enterprise. On half an acre, that's 500,000. This is an easy way for you to get out of sending money home. Quickly go to the other one. I want you to get the next one. I want to show you how the statistics look for our country. Out of that whole big pie, that is Africa production. The big blue is Ethiopia, producing 40% of African coffee. The other big pie is Uganda, producing 30%. Then we have the other one, Ivory Coast, Tanzania, and Kenya comes in small there at 4%. So the great Kenyan coffee that we know, if we don't do something different, we will not be serving it to the rest of the world. Most of you here were brought up in by coffee and educated by coffee. So one of the things we have found with His Excellency the Governor when we went to Houston last week is the biggest asset that other countries have unlocked are their people in the diaspora. We visited a roastery in Houston. Two brothers, it's run by two brothers from Honduras, and they came here, they were coffee farmers, they came to the United States of America, and they are running one of the biggest roasteries in US. I wanted the media people to show the next one, go to the next one, why we are here in the United States. United States is the leading consumer of our coffee, our Kenyan coffee. So this is the place where most of our coffee is consumed. Sadly, our coffee is presented here by the great multinationals who do not allow us to market our coffee here directly. But through you, like the people of Honduras, who are marketing their coffee here in the United States, you remember, Governor, they were telling us that their bank account facility is $100 million for just buying coffee and selling coffee. So would like, PS, as you continue making a case to the people in the diaspora, these people are the ones who know who drink coffee here. We are producers, we don't know. You're the ones who know, you're the ones who can roast our coffee and sell it here as value-added coffee without being blended. So would like you to support us, support the government, and support our Council of Governors as they do the difficult job of increasing production in Kenya. But our farmers will only get that return I showed you and more if you find markets for us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So you've seen Kenya, we are rich, right? We just need to figure out how to market our resources. My challenge kwa governor, sisi watu wa diaspora, tumekuwa tukiumia sana. Tunaweza kuwa ambassadors. Lakini hiyo county government budget, tuandikie vijana wawili watatu wa kuwa ambassadors hapa diaspora. Sisi tutafanya hiyo kazi. So, ama ni aje diasporans? Hata si tupate hiyo kazi kidogo. Haya, thank you. So, I know I'm really crushed for time, but I have to really present something to all of us here in diaspora. As Chamwada comes through, these are our sponsors who really made this event to be what it is. I also have KCB. They have a small thing that they'll do. But most importantly, too, our youth in diaspora have stepped up. And they're really fighting for some causes. I have a young lady also here who will talk just a little bit about autism that's going on. And then I jump into speeches. And tafadhali, nawapatia tu dakika mbili. Tumalize hii haraka, I jump into other things. So, Chamwada, you're most welcome. And as you, actually, once we finish this, all our vendors have their booths outside, so visit them, ask all the questions, because we won't have time to ask those questions here today. You can ask them at the booth out there. Karibu.
Asanteni sana. All protocols observed. I know hakuna time. Hamjambo nyote? Mko salama? Yeah, so for me is to say I'm a friend of the diaspora. I literally live in the diaspora, although I'm in Kenya. And just to say, like Reverend Gigi Kariuki will tell you, I met them first in 2004 when I covered them. And it's many years when I came back recently, I've covered them also. The story is yet to run. So just to say it's symbolic that I'm even here as a friend of this church. 2004 is when I covered them last time. Balozi Mayo, Madam PS, tumekuwa nae in August. We did 9 investment forums under the Daring Abroad brand, and he presided on one of it in Washington, D.C., na zingine zikawa presided with other officers from the embassy. We have an MOU with the State Department of Diaspora Affairs to work together to tell the diaspora story. And we've been doing this for the last 10 years. Champs Media is celebrating 10 years this year. We've featured over 1,000 individuals and companies from across the world telling the diaspora story. That's why I'm here to also feature this event and ensure that it's going on my show known as Daring Abroad. So my company is Champs Media, as you can see on the roll-up banner there. Yes, it is an independent production, Daring Abroad. Someone was asking me, I'm not employed. You watch it on NTV, but it's a Champs Media production. We pay for the airtime, so someone has to pay for the cost. It's our show. It wouldn't have been sustainable if I was operating like a supplier, so that's why. But I'm really happy, Mr. Ndonga, for organizing this, and the entire team. Thank you so much for your support, and to just say you'll appear on Daring Abroad, and there are sponsors or people who work with us to make it happen. And just to say that we have more forums to do. Some are organized by Champs Media, others organized by yourselves. I mean, for me, everyone here has a story with me, including the coffee sector. Esther will tell you we produced a documentary that they are circulating around the world to tell Kenya's story of the coffee sector. I mean, I can see Kilondu there, former chairman of Kenya USA Diaspora Circle. Everybody here is a friend of Champs Media. Choti, they organized OVC in Washington, D.C., and we covered it for you. So allow me to ask the media team to play 3 videos of the sponsors I'm representing who will make this story possible to be aired on TV in Kenya, and it will also be uploaded on our YouTube channel, that is Champs Media TV. So we really appreciate your support to the Daring Abroad show, and the sponsors are Kenya Police Sacco. You know, SACCOs are now very good avenues through which you can invest back home, and they are vetted. Si kama siku za kitambo, work with a SACCO that is regulated by the Kenya SACCO Societies Regulatory Authority, so you have no fears. As we present these sponsors, do your due diligence also. Don't just say, oh yeah, niliingia tu, hata we fanya your due diligence. So I'm presenting Kenya Police Sacco as one of our partners. Read about them, you'll get their contacts, and you'll come to my desk there if you want the further contacts. I'm also introducing Impala developers. We've also vetted them. We work very closely with the State Department to ensure that we are working with credible partners. So, and I can assure you, through Champs Media and the partners, we've been showcasing their stories. About, again, 900 just in the last 2 years, Kenyans living abroad have been able to acquire property back home through Champs Media information. So we are proud about that. So Impala developers. And then finally, Hyssop Properties. Their specialty is to help you turn your property back home into a home. Many of you have bought properties, but maybe you don't know how to turn them into homes. So allow the 3 clips to play. Apologies if I've taken too much time. Each clip is just about a minute, and many thanks for listening to me. Asanteni.
You ready to embrace the future in style? Welcome to Prime Gardens Phase 2 by Hyssop Properties. Along the Mala-Kangundo Road with picturesque views of Kilimambogo, these spacious 50 by 100 plots are in your canvas to build your dream home. Electricity and water are readily available. Prime Gardens Phase 2 is just a short 5-minute drive from the tarmac. Hyssop Properties, a culture of trust.
Established in 1972 with a membership of 690, the Kenya National Police Deposit Taking Sacco is now rated among the top SACCOs in the country with a membership of over 72,000. Guided by the principle of inclusive growth, it was named the best SACCO in the country at the 2023 Ushirika Day celebrations. To become a member of the SACCO, one is required to present a fully filled membership application form, a copy of the national identity card, and 2 recent colored passport-size photographs. Serving and retired administration police officers, civilian in the employment of the Kenya Police Service, employees of the Kenya National Police Deposit Taking Sacco Society, employees of the Civil Service, employees from corporate entities operating in Kenya, business community, as well as their spouses or children aged 18 years and above are eligible to be members. Members of the Kenya National Police Deposit Sacco enjoy a host of benefits including favorable interest rates on loans, high annual dividends and interests on deposits, instant M-Tawi Fosa loans, loan clearance on behalf of members, and affordable land and property. Kenya National Police Deposit Taking Sacco offers back office service activity with a wide range of products. They include jumbo loans, bima loans, premier loans, super loans, mega loans, normal loans, refinancing loans, emergency loans, school fees loans, asset financing loans, salary advance, M-SASA, Fosa Flex, Fosa Golden, Fosa Ultra, Q-Cash, as well as Muslim loans and the Muslim emergency loan, which are available to Muslim members. Kenya National Police Deposit Taking Sacco Front Office Service promotes one of our priorities of bringing services closer to members. It includes savings account, holiday account, junior account, group or corporate account, business account, and the fixed deposit account. M-Tawi is the SACCO's mobile banking service. A member can register for the service by dialing the USSD code *653# or downloading the app from the Play Store. You will receive an OTP which you will be requested to change your desired PIN or password. Kenya National Police Deposit Taking SACCO. United for prosperity.
Looking for your dream home investment? Look no further. Introducing Impala Gardens, the future of comfortable living in Rongai. Enjoy resort-style living with a swimming pool, state-of-the-art gym, and a playground for your little ones. Unwind on our mini basket court with friends and family. Phase 1 ready for occupancy this January. Your chance to win a 3-bedroom from just 12.9 million and a 4-bedroom from 15.9 million. Secure your future today. Visit our website for more information. Impala Gardens, where luxury meets tranquility. Are you ready to start your investment journey? Impala Developers Limited presents Impala Palms, their latest masterpiece in Ongata Rongai. Featuring 2 and 3 bedroom apartments with impeccable finishes and beautifully lit rooms. Enjoy the rooftop oasis with a gym, gaming room, and scenic walking paths. Located just 100 meters off Magadi Road in the Lesa Hill area of Ongata Rongai. With a promising return on investment, seize this opportunity today. Prices start at just 6.75 million. Visit our website or call us today to learn more. Impala Palms, where your investment dreams come true.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Chamwada. I appreciate that. So he's one of our sponsors for this event. At this minute too, I want to invite our head of diaspora banking for KCB. Actually, they are also they were our biggest sponsor for this event. Wakapatieni makofi. Na uzuri watu wa pesa, unajua mimi hawaongeangi sana, wanakwambia tu wewe leta pesa yako. I work in the banking industry, so I understand the language. So, Bwana Simon, karibu.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Simon Halonda is my name, and I'm here with my 2 colleagues, Roslyn at the back there, and maybe Roslyn can wave. Okay. And Mr. Mushira is also here. So I'll just read quickly our message from the bank. Some of you know very well that KCB is a strong part of the Kenya story. We were parastatal, which was well privatized, and we have never disappointed since the year 2002. So all protocols observed, I'll go through this, the message from the bank. So allow me to read. Today, as we gather here, not just as individuals, but as a united nation, to celebrate a significant milestone in our history. 60 years ago, our forefathers embarked on a journey towards freedom, independence, and self-determination. Our presence here is a testament to their resilience, vision, and enduring spirit of the Kenyan people. Ladies and gentlemen, in the realm of economic development, we have witnessed tremendous growth and transformation. Our nation has become a regional economic powerhouse with thriving industries, a resilient agricultural sector, and a dynamic entrepreneurial spirit. KCB Bank recognizes the diaspora community as a major enabler of economic growth and a critical driver towards the achievement of our overarching vision of an economically sound nation. According to statistics from the Central Bank of Kenya, diaspora remittances increased to $355.6 million in October 2023. An increase of 2.3 billion from the previous month. Our commitment to you is to cater to all your financial services needs boldly, differently, and innovatively by enabling your progress back at home. Our robust branch network and reliable regional presence garnered over 120 years of an unsurpassed banking experience. As we celebrate Kenya at 60, we at KCB, we are delighted to be celebrating 127 years of operation. To celebrate this great milestone, we have launched a new brand purpose, for people, for better, anchored on opening doors of opportunities to everyone, every time, and everywhere. We are dedicated to make a positive impact in every interaction, service we provide. The brand purpose symbolizes a powerful vision of imagining the future where we stand united, sharing a common mission to uplift lives, empower dreams, and create a positive impact. We are more than a bank, we are enablers of dreams. In this light, KCB continues to offer safe and secure diaspora banking services, enabling you to seamlessly invest back home. We are reliable one-stop for all your banking needs. Ladies and gentlemen, to ensure your investments are safeguarded, KCB additionally offers insurance through KCB Insurance Agency, ensuring diaspora customers can access property insurance, motor vehicle insurance, medical Simba health insurance, and many other products. I confidently say that KCB is well positioned to serve you and give you optimal service to meet your financial needs. As we stand on the border of a new era in our financial journey and growth of our nation, let the spirit of Harambee continue to guide us. Let us work together hand in hand to build the nation. KCB has worked with our nation for the past 60 years, and we are here to reassure you that we'll continue to support you to ensure overall prosperity, advancement of our great nation. Happy 60th anniversary, Kenya. May the next 60 years be even more remarkable as we continue to march forward as one nation, one people, one Kenya. Asanteni sana, and God bless you all. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kenya Commercial Bank. I will tell you honestly, this is not my story to tell. Most likely Engineer Ndonga will tell you this story, but to pull this, I know just from a little bird, it took a lot. And KCB, we really want to thank you for stepping in and making this event a success. So this time, I want to actually invite a legend. When I was growing up, there was somebody I used to hear, their songs, everything. And we used to say, when I grow up, I want to be like him. But I grew up, I became almost 200-300 pounds. He still remains the same way. I don't know what to do. He's like my grandfather, but he looks younger than me. And we have an announcement. Tonight, he'll be playing Mugithi. Mugithi will be playing today, and I'll give you that address once he's done performing. Musaimo Wanjeri is in the house. Jameni makofi kwake. He has created so many artists. He has supported people back in Kenya. He has made some of us to be who we are. So this is your moment. Tupatie tu wimbo moja peke yake. Alafu wengine watakuja wakusikize leo usiku. Si ndio? Haya, Musaimo, karibu.
Wageni wetu habari. Hamjambo. Hebu simameni kidogo. Simameni kidogo tafadhali. DJ Nderemo. Tunasherehekea miaka ngapi Kenya? Miaka ngapi? Awe kijana unakaa chini, wewe unakaa chini bado haya twende wewe. Weka ngoma bwana, anza vizuri. Wewe anza vizuri, weka ngoma. Fanya hivi. Tatu kwa nchi yangu, nderemo moja, nderemo mbili, nderemo tatu kwa nchi yangu. Njonjoni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Njonjoni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi. Amepambwa utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi. Wengi huja kutoka mbali, juu ya maji, juu ya anga, ili waone mama Kenya. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi, Kenya. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi. Nafanya mwito kwa wana Kenya wanaoishi nchi za mbali, msisahau mama Kenya. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi, Kenya. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi. Wa viongozi wa nchi yetu, mnaongoza taifa letu, inueni jina la Kenya. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi, Kenya. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi. Wananchi wote wa Kenya, ninawasihi kwa unyenyekevu, tudumishe amani Kenya. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Njooni nyote wa karibu na mbali, muone urembo wa mama yangu. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi, Kenya. Amepambwa mapambo ya mwituni, Kenya. Utamaduni na ukarimu mwingi.
Majameni, makofi ya nguvu kwa Musaimo jameni. Asante sana. Tumeshukuru. I know and I do understand about time, and the problem of the job of being an MC is really controlling time, because there are a lot of things within the protocol that I have to observe. But with that being said, I'm going to invite Wilston Holmes, just to say one quick word. I know they also sponsored our event. And then I have Kenya. She's also going to be presenting something about autism, but I'll give her only a minute just to mention just the overview of that, and then I move now to the speeches, and then we'll be wrapping up. Karibu.
Good evening, everyone. All protocols observed. My name is Egidio Kenyanjui Getao. I'm the managing director of a company called Wilston Homes, based in Kenya. And we came for this celebration here at Atlanta. It's been quite a great pleasure. However, tuna struggle na usingizi kwetu sasa hivi, tungekuwa tumelala. Apparently I never came alone. Maybe you can stand up and wave to the crowd. I came with my team. That's Leah and Sylvia. another guy who just went out called Maurice Mwendwa. Just a brief introduction that Wilson was founded back in 2018 with the aim of providing affordable housing in Kenya. We have remained very steadfast to that fact. And for the last 5 years, not competition, in complementing what the government is doing to provide affordable housing, I think we've been the very best affordable housing private sector, and we are very pleased and happy about that. Why Wilson Homes is because we've made sure that we put in structures that are beneficial for you and those our Kenyans working and living in diaspora. And like we all know, when we say diaspora, most of us now we think of USA as the biggest diaspora. You guys have been very supportive to our business, and we always appreciate that. As you're struggling to make the dollar here, we're also struggling to give you the light structures when it comes to construction, owning homes back at home, both for yourself and maybe for the kids and friends and family you've left back at home. And that has been very outstanding in the market. We offer a very great product, that is bungalows and maisonette, to make sure that you guys have a wide range of properties and products to choose from. Wilson, our journey have started around Kagudo Road. We've measured more on Joska, Kamuru area. Also not forgetting around Thika Road, where we've measured more on Kenyatta Road, Ruiru as well, and most recently, Mangu area, just behind Mangu High School. Our great service out there is very outstanding to make sure that we give you value for your money when it comes to investment back at home. Why choose Wilson is because our standards out there in the market in terms of the product we put out there for you to be very competitive, to make sure that you have a reason to smile. And when those days are over for you to work here, I have seen a couple of guys working during summer and going back home during winter. We sort you out on that to make sure that you have a very convenient stay. Most importantly, if you choose to invest here, we also rent out your house when you're living back here to make sure it also generates something at the end of the day for you and becomes an investment that is valuable and that has given you value for your money. Our great service, our great price of the product ranges from around 9 million for a bungalow, and that is a 3-bedroom bungalow and suite with a servant quarter, seated on a 50 by 100, to make sure that in a gated community, just like how you guys live here, the community aspect of it, umoja, tunanyitaga nyumba kumi back at home, to make sure that you guys have something to that. Our legacy for home, happy home clans, and during this Thanksgiving weekend that you guys are appreciating and thanking God, the Almighty God, for the far you've taken you, and also for the challenges that we've been able to counter, and most importantly, for the value of life you've given us. We're here to also appreciate and give thanks to you guys for the support you've given us. USA purchases have the biggest purchasing power when it comes to Wilson Homes. You take an average of around 57% of our product, and that is why we said it is very, being our first time in USA, it's also good to come and so that you put a face to the brand, and we are very happy about that. Last and most important is we are advocating for Maisha Bila Rent. I know you guys have kids you've left at home, and you also sometimes in near future or even later, you might choose to also settle back at home. Let Wilson be your partner when it comes to investment. Relieve yourself of the burden of construction, because we have the right structures, the right professionals for the right job to make sure that you have something to pride in. Thank you very much. Na asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki zaidi.
Asante sana Kenyanjui with Wilson Homes, and also thank you for sponsoring this event. All protocols observed, lazima ningetafuta pesa kwa sababu event lazima ingefanyika bila hii pesa. So I also want to give an address. We'll project the address for tonight where Musaima will be playing today. If you want to join, we encourage all of you to take this celebration there. That is at the El Galaxy Restaurant at 5055 Austell Road in Austell, Georgia, 30106. With that being said, I'm going to invite Kenya Nyambura Njoroge, her name is Kenya, to come and just talk 1 minute about autism. She is very passionate about this. This is our youth that we are promoting. And I wish Madam PS you were here earlier. We had one young man who performed very well, who has traveled all the way, is touring the world to make sure that Kenya is represented on the map. Tukimaliza program, I'll also have him give us a presentation. Kuja Kenya, kuja vile tu naendelea kuongea. And then at the same time, makofi kwake, jameni. Yeah. Asante, thank you. At the same time, we'll also have a diaspora anthem. At the end, when the program is done, we'll also squeeze them all to speak. Kenya, karibu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kenya Nyambura Njoroge. My parents are over there, Jane Njoroge, and my dad, Njoroge wa Texas. So, I am blessed to have participated in the Miss Kenya USA pageant, and I came out as first princess. And the platform that I had was autism awareness. The reason is because my brother, Njoroge, he was diagnosed with autism at a young age, and we didn't have a lot of resources at the time, which I saw growing up even though I was young. So it inspired me to have parents and even older kids with autism to be able to have the resources starting off early and not have the same mistakes as we did or have more knowledge. Since I don't have time, I won't play my presentation. But I just wanted to say that everyone with autism should be treated with respect, I feel like. And I always use this verse. It comes from Psalm 139:14. It says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. I know that my brother was fearfully and wonderfully made by the same God who made me, the same God who made you. And nobody is made by mistake. So this is just something I wanted to put in everybody's heart, to encourage you and to spread awareness even further, even if you don't know anyone with autism or have any family with autism, but just to treat all of them with respect. All in all, I think with empathy, understanding, and community support, we can foster an environment that enables individuals with autism to thrive. Starting with awareness here in my own community and continuing on to our country, Kenya, who has even less resources and knowledge on this. And yeah, thank you guys. God bless.
All right, thank you very much, Kenya. Jamani, tumpigie makofi mazuri. This young Kenyan, she's doing wonders. She's representing Kenya, not just Kenya, the youth. As I mentioned earlier, there's a lot going on with our youth in diaspora, especially when it comes to mental health, stigmas that are there. We have a lot of teen suicide, actually among Kenyans, a lot of homelessness among Kenyans. So we want to make sure that we sort these things out, and thank you to the parents for raising such a wonderful, beautiful lady that represents Kenya, and she's one of us. So, nimemaliza maneno ya pesa. Wacha tuingie maneno ya serikali. So at this moment, our invited guests are here. I know they have remarks for us. And for us to begin with that, I want to start with the chair of the Diaspora National Governing Council. He's a Georgian. Atlantan, munajitanga Atlantan, ama munajitaji? Eh? ATA Atlanta. All right, he's from Atlanta. Engineer Ndonga, I call him chairman. Karibu, utukaribishe kwenyu, alafu we'll also introduce your leaders, and then we'll proceed with the speeches. Karibu.
Thank you. All protocol observed. Good evening. Yes, I'll take this opportunity to welcome you here. This is our state, And before I do that, I will introduce our team. We have our team is across the U.S., and I will ask them to stand, and I will introduce them, please. So from there, that's Alphonse. That's our communication guy. Everybody knows him. He fights negative news. He's very good with that. So he's our social media guy. Then we have Ireri. He's also in the communication and also our public relation. Then we have Professor Shoti from DC. I forgot, Ireri is from Minnesota. Then Professor Shoti is from Washington, DC. He's the busiest guy. He's our professor. Then we have the global chair, Paul Moite, but it's not Kifugi. This is a different Moite. So, yes, from Boston. Also, we have our SG, Samuel Cheraisi, on NGC. Kama uko na maswali, jamaa huyo ndio ako na answer. And then me, I'm the chairman. Thank you very much. So, I forgot, we have Danson Mukire. He helped us with the technology, and he also represents Dallas. Asante sana. So, for those people who made this happen, the local from Atlanta, please stand. So here, those are from Atlanta. Alphonse again, then Catherine Jogu, then in Jogumbaro, there's a Jeff, and then there is Bonawaweru, John Kenyajui, and Cheraisi. I don't have much to say, but I want to say thank you to Madam P.S. Since you took over, we have seen what you have been doing for us as a diaspora. So the team that I mentioned here, it was started by Madam Veronica at year 2020, but Nani alituacha, Njoroge ran away. So he's right there. So yes. So and then when we won the government, President himself asked us, hey, can you work with Madam Roslyn? So that's what we are doing, and we appreciate His Excellency, Ambassador, because you remember in April, we had mobile consular services around the U.S., which was very, very, very successful. Want to thank Bishop. This was one of the venue. It was given to us free, and we ran very well. We served over 1,500, Mr. Karoki and Wamela. And then those team, the immigration guy from your team, they worked up to 3 a.m. for 3 days. That's a full dedication. So we appreciate that. We know there is some people who have been fighting the mobile services on the social media. We had a very hard time to make people appear to do that. But for some reason, Alphonse is able to silence them. But the truth of the matter, Madam P.S., before there were people who were taking that as a business. Sasa umemaliza hiyo maneno. So that's the fight. That's where the fight is coming from. And we will keep on fighting, no matter how you attack us. I have been called all kind of the names, sending to my private messages, but I'm okay. We'll still continue working for that, and we'll make it go ahead, right? Right, Tim? And everybody is ready to do that. Asante sana, Governor. We were working with the Governor, and we had a very, and the Senator, and our Excellency Ambassador. We had a very successful dinner with investor. I saw Miss Portia. How are you doing? Yeah. Yes. So Miss Portia is African American, and she organized a very, very successful investor conference or dinner, which Madam Veronica is now a Georgian citizen, honorary Georgian citizen. With that, I'll end there. Say thank you. Thank you for your time. and I appreciate your time. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor Richard and Pastor Penny.
Asante sana, Engineer Ndonga. We want to thank you for your leadership, your passion, your vision for the diaspora. And we urge everybody, one thing that I know tulipigana sana, maneno ya campaign nini. Our government is for you all. And we want to make sure that it works for you all. And our Engineer Ndonga has led this diaspora group. We are few. We continue to grow. I know we're in the UK, pretty much everywhere. And we want to make sure that diaspora is represented, that we have a voice. Sio kutuma pesa peke yake, we also have a voice. So I do appreciate your leadership. And personally, I want to thank you. And from Minnesota, the Minnesota chapter and all that, all the leaders in Minnesota who didn't even make it, we want to make sure that we thank you, and we thank you, Georgian, for being the core of the Diaspora National Governing Council. So thank you for that. So this moment, before I call the next person, who's our Senator, Veronica Maina. I know you all know Veronica Maina. And before she comes, we even have a quick interlude for her video to show you on this one. We all remember, tumekuwa tukicomplain watu wa diaspora. We never had a voice. Our voice, to be honest with you, after the DP then, now president right now, who stayed on a Zoom call for 8 hours to rally diasporans to come together. If you are not on that Zoom call, I wish it's recorded somewhere so we can remember the President, His Excellency, Dr. William Ruto, was on that call for 8 hours. Majority of us were sleeping. We wake up, we are back. Rallying that diaspora needs to come together. Diaspora is key for Kenya. Right after that, we saw what happened. I'm still getting used to Senator Madam Veronica Maina. I know her as SG, so it's a Secretary General. Okay, so what I was saying is she has championed for diaspora. She is one of us. And to hear that she was honored yesterday, it's a pleasure to make sure that I invite her here. Before that, my media guys, if you can play that video before she shows up, so we can make sure that she's well welcomed.
Kenyans in the diaspora, good evening from a rainy, cold Nairobi. We're experiencing some rains here. Whatever weather you're experiencing, wherever you are, salamu nyingi. I'm sending this video to invite you to the Diaspora Investment Conference 2023, which will be happening here in Nairobi on December 13th to the 15th during the December holidays, and we know you would not want to miss that. The venue will be the KICC, Kenyatta International Conference Center. We hope you'll be able to take wonderful selfies from the very top of KICC as you see what has been happening back home this year. This conference is based on the fact that we understand the critical role that diaspora plays, not just in our economy, but also in our national pride, and in helping us become an anchor state around the world. This conference will showcase the various available investment opportunities for you to take part in and to be a part of. We'll have sector-specific conversations and plenary sessions. We'll have exhibitions from various actors, whether in real estate or fintechs, or investment in fungible assets and securities. There'll be networking sessions between yourselves, Kenyans back home, national government, county government on bankable investment opportunities already existing here. The Diaspora Conference will also highlight your success stories. We have had so many exciting success stories from you on your investment journeys here, and we'll be featuring many diasporians speaking about their success investment stories. At this conference, there will be an investment tour, and we look forward to taking you on an exciting trip. And finally, the conference ends with a beautiful cultural gala dinner. Apart from the exciting food and music and shows of culture, there will also be our first ever Diaspora Excellence Awards, where we will be awarding those of you who have performed fantastically and have brought great honor to this country. For those of you who have come to know us for mobile consular services, we will have consular services on site. So while you're home, if you are looking to get that ID or renew that passport, this is going to be happening on site at KICC. Tunataka kusema karibuni nyumbani sana. We're looking forward to having you here. But in case you're not able to make it, this will be a hybrid event. And you can catch it and stream it live on our socials on Facebook and on YouTube. Mark your calendar. Karibuni nyumbani. We look forward to having the Christmas sherehes with you. Thank you very much.
So I know I still also have another video that I'll play after that. That came ahead. Unajua ubaya yangu watu wa siasa saa zingine I talk more faster kidogo before they get that. We'll also replay this video because it's very important for you guys to mark your calendars for this day. And we'll also, I'm pretty sure Madam PS will touch on this a little bit, on the importance of this. So at this moment, let me welcome our Senator, Veronica Maina, a Georgian. Karibu sana. Makofi kwake jameni akikaribia. Asante, karibu mama.
God is good, and all the time, God is good, and that's his nature. Wow. To our host, the chair of Diaspora, especially in Atlanta, and the chair of the governing council of the Diaspora, our governor, Mubomi, our PS, Roslyn, all the Diaspora brothers and sisters, Alex Chamwanda, good evening. I am completely, deeply honored to be here tonight because to me, Diaspora is family. And let me also take this opportunity before I overlook a very important person in this place, Pastor Gigi, the host pastor. We are grateful. I believe he's Bishop, Bishop Gigi. Thank you so much for having us. We don't take it for granted that you carry the weight of a community and you feel it's your responsibility to make the Kenyan community comfortable. You being one of us, we appreciate men and women of God like you and many people who continue to carry the burden of the Kenyan community in wherever they are. Thank you so much. I'm deeply honored to be here tonight because Diaspora, I feel like I'm you and I feel like you're me. I mean, you're part of us. You are us, you are family. I don't feel as though I'm not at home when I'm here because of the warmth and the hospitality that I experience when I come to Diaspora. Atlanta is a beautiful place. I came the first time. I was received by this great gentleman led by Engineer Charles Donga, together with your great team here. I cannot forget your hospitality, your love, your keenness to support and make sure that our logistics are well worked out. We never take that for granted. And sometimes we are not able to reciprocate in Kenya as well as you do it here because you do it with such a dedication, with such a passion. And every time I hear the diaspora say, you know, when we come to Nairobi, sometimes we are not treated like that. I am so sorry about that. And we apologize as Kenyans. I think we are working out to become better people when you get home. But I guess sometimes when you also come home, there are so many people interested in your lives. From your mom, your sisters, your brothers. You are spread out until we can almost not catch you properly because you want to make sure you fulfill your duties to everybody, which is important when you visit back home. But we are making sure, and as you can see, following the promises that our president gave when he campaigned in Diaspora, that we would have a specific dedicated department within the ministry to deal with diaspora affairs. Has it not been delivered? Was it a lie? It was the truth because today You are graciously hosted and served by our PS here dedicated to diaspora affairs, Miss Luzrin Jogo. That's why I feel good and I feel energized and I feel confident to come back to diaspora. And I hope I find a chance to even go to Boston someday, go back to Texas, engage with the community. And I'm happy that today, as we visit Atlanta once again, Georgia once again, I am so happy that we have the consular services here where you can secure your ID, you can secure your passport at the comfort of being within your state and being within your city. Those consular services are your right. They are your right as diaspora, because government must reach out and make services accessible to all their citizens wherever they are across the whole world, especially as insofar as it is practicable to offer those services far away from home. It is the wish of Kenya Kwanza government that these services will be felt by diaspora just the way we feel when you inject direct investment into Kenya, using the exchange of currency that you said to the nation of Kenya, and looking at the way you have been supporting the economy of Kenya. It is the wish of Kenya government under Dr. William Samoei Ruto to ensure that you equally feel a government that is present and a government that cares for your needs, even when you are far away from home. We know you may have had a few challenges at the JKIA, as people have told me. Every person I have met in Atlanta is talking about JKIA. Msijali, hiyo ni shida kidogo tunatatua. You will not have big issues there. We are making sure that every passenger who comes to Nairobi, every person who lands in Nairobi is as comfortable can ever get, and that Kenya continues to remain a choice destination for any person coming back home and any tourist intending to visit Africa. And as I have always said, if you haven't visited Kenya, you haven't done a safari in Kenya, for some of our friends who are seated at the back of the hall, you still haven't quite been to the real Africa. The real Africa, the heartbeat of Africa, is in Kenya. Because you must come to Masai Mara to see the seventh wonder of the world. That's the wildebeest migration. There are many, many beautiful things in Kenya, pristine beaches. The beaches in Kenya cannot be compared to any other beach. They are kind of the best. We have the best tea that blends all the tea in the whole world. I mean, for your cup of tea to really taste like tea, you must blend it with Kenyan tea. And our sister here has told us about the best coffee. It still comes from Kenya. The best avocado still comes from Kenya. If you're looking for cashew nuts, for ground nuts, if you're looking for all manner of nuts, some of the best nuts that are being served by airlines are coming from the same destination called Kenya. And the warmth of the Kenyan people, they are loving, they are good. So please come to Kenya. Even your children, tell them they still need to come back home. Please don't keep your children here for many days without bringing them back home. But let me say this. We are just delighted to be here. We are very happy for the initiatives you have put in supporting the economy back home and supporting your families back home, bringing back investment to the nation. In fact, diaspora has some of the solutions that Kenya is looking for. And we know you have acquired a lot of skills, acquired a lot of competencies while you are far away from home, and you need to also know that your ideas are also welcome to build our economies in Kenya. In the 47 counties, you have platforms to express those ideas. You'll be surprised, by the way. Every governor in Kenya, every leader in Kenya is looking for that idea that can cause that county to make it break forth to the next level. So don't give up sharing the ideas you have. In fact, if you look for, if you can find an avenue to communicate with your leaders back home, we are receptive to ideas. The government is very open to receive whatever positive value addition ideas you would be having. And remember, we are doing aggregation parks now across the counties. In those aggregation parks, Kenya wants to sort of reorient the kind of trade we've been having with the world. as opposed to sending raw materials, we want to value add aggregation packs that will be value adding on our products back home, so that by the time they are sent to the US, they are sent to the UK, they are sent to different destinations, then we have a more complete product, so that the young people who are back home can get jobs to be able to work in those aggregation packs. And because you have been in very, very developed jurisdictions, it is important you now share the skills and the competencies and transfer the technology you have learned here. You know, you were sent here as an ambassador. Musisahau hivyo, because we know we have our ambassador here. And yes, our ambassador is also in the house. I'm sorry, ambassador. Sometimes protocols are very difficult. I forgot to mention. You know, our very good ambassador is in the house. But you equally are ambassadors in this nation. In the area of expertise you've been sent, if you're in the medical field, treat yourself an ambassador in that field. Bring us that technology back home and let's improve the livelihoods of Kenyans. Let's improve the health sector, because many of you are working in the health sector and doing very, very well in the United States of America. We equally need that competence, that technology transferred back home. And there are many people who have invited even citizens from the US, citizens from other countries to come and value add and contribute and participate together with Kenyans and build us to the next level of development. So for me, I should not speak much. We have a lot we could share, but we are happy to be here. We are happy to take back any ideas you have, and we pray that even as you continue to live here, you occupy and conquer. You occupy and be victorious. Don't be discouraged. Just know all will be well. And when you bring back your investment to Kenya, it is secured. You know, we have a strong judicial system. If you have any disputes, you can take them to court. Kenya is one country where even a presidential petition is taken to court when you are disputing elections on presidential. It is taken to court, determined by judiciary, and the verdict of the court is upheld. So if it can do that on governance matters, is it only in trade matters that courts cannot determine? Courts have been known to determine disputes in every area, meaning you cannot lose your investments in Kenya. When you come and inject capital in Kenya, when you invest in Kenya, you cannot lose your investment. It's a secured investment. You are always assured that you will have very good returns to your investment. And as I shared last night, Kenya is a gateway to East Africa. It's the gateway to COMESA, to the Commonwealth market. And it has a huge population of 500 million people. And being a gateway to East Africa, being a gateway to Africa, it means once you invest in Kenya, your return to investment has been proved to be the highest the world over. So I would interest you to get interested in Kenya. Make sure you get to Kenya for those who would want to invest. And even our diaspora, I'm happy the KCB Bank is here. Our bank system is our financial institutions are very, very, very strong. We do not remember when you lost your money in the bank. If you keep your money in the Kenyan banks, your money is safe. So even for diaspora, the dollars that Kenya is having a deficit on, you should be bankable back home. Don't fear to send your money back home because it is secure. You can withdraw it when you need to withdraw it. Come and do fixed deposits back home. Do your dollar accounts back home. Let's trade in Kenya with that money. And you'll also earn very good interest, which you may not be able to earn within the financial institutions that are in other jurisdictions. And with those very, very many remarks, it's a pleasure to be here. And God bless you, and we'll continue having a conversation. Asante sana.
Asante sana, our senator, our Georgian. Tunashukuru. Jameni, makofi mazuri kwa Senator Maina. Tunashukuru. We thank you. Thank you for those remarks. At this moment, I'll be inviting Governor Onesmus Mudomi Njoki, who's, why I know him very well is because where I come from a very tiny community, Kuna mtu yote anajua Mumbere, anajua Mbere ni wapi hapa? Anybody knows where Mbere is? There you go. Kumbe mko wengi. Mimi natoka Siakago huko Mbere. I used to believe before I never knew we had a lot of Mera, but now I know we are champion of Mogoka. So when it comes to that. But our speaker governor, before we talk about anything, when it comes to climate change, I think he was among the first governor to set up a kitty for El Nino in the whole of Kenya. When we were talking about it, he did action about it. Actually, he banned travel through Akasema. First, we have to take care of our people. So I really want to be thankful about that. As I invite you to come and talk to your people, come and talk to our diasporans. He's also representing all our governors, 47 governors. So tukitoka hapa kama uko na maswali ya governor yako, kama mimi, my governor who's the chairman of UDA, nimekuwa nikipushi county bond, tafadhali tupeleke pesa kwa counties. This is where we come from. This is where we grew up. If we don't develop our counties, tusiporudisha hii pesa nyumbani, tukizeeka kama najua Muite, si unarudi nyumbani? Au rudi? Hata mimi nikwambie, familia yangu ilirudi on the 19th. I'm on my way back to Kenya. So, maybe if my county is bad, I blame myself. I don't blame the governor. So please support our governors. Bwana governor, karibu. This is your moment. Makofi kwa governor akikuja. Ndio pia akirudi, unajua ni mwanasiasa, kuna maneno tunaweza tuma yeye yenye hatuwezi tuma PS. So ya siasa tutamtuma. Karibu.
God is good, and all the time. The PS, Diaspora Affairs, Madam Roslyn Jogu, our Ambassador, Amayo, our Chair of Diaspora, where we are, the host, Engineer Donga, SG, now the Senator of Kenya, Madam Veronica Maina, and all protocols observed. It's a pleasure for me to be here. And I want to thank the chairman for inviting me way back about 2 months ago when we came here for UNGA. And I said to combine that with something else I was doing here. So I'm very happy to be here. When we were looking at the presentation, I was very amazed to see how informed we are as diaspora. I know some of you have not been home for some time, but you are well informed through the social media and other form of media. And I want to say you may not be very far from the information that you get, although sometimes it's filtered by whoever is giving us. Once in a while, touch base with us so that we can be able to tell you the truth. And one of the ways of touching base with us is what we are doing today. We'll come here, you come home, we have a conversation. And thank you, Bishop Gigi, for this wonderful sanctuary that Kenyans come to worship. I have looked through it and it's wonderful because I've seen it's got different departments, not just place where you come to worship. You have other department, which is a good thing. So when I was looking at the video, I saw one thing I said I'll correct before I speak. And please excuse me because I have to correct it. The narration there said, from 1963, we had elections over and over again, and every election was being won. But the one of the leader of my party was narrowly won. I wanted to correct that and say, a win is a win. It doesn't matter how narrow it is. A win is a win. So when we are presenting that again, please, my friend, just remove that part of narrowly won because a win is a win. I represent the Council of Governors while I stand here. I also represent my county, which is county number 13, Tharaka-Nithi County, who enabled me to be in the Council of Governors. In the Council of Governors, I serve as chairman of the Health Committee. So while my sister senator has spoken about most of the things, allow me, for the sake of time, just to touch very briefly on what is happening on the health space in Kenya. Then I leave the rest to the chief guest and ambassador to explore. When we were campaigning as Kenya Kwanza towards 2022 elections, and we were doing what we call economic forums with our president, one of the things that kept popping up is the state of health of Kenyans, the desperation, the poverty, and sometimes the deaths that would have been avoided, circumstances that our people live or find themselves in because of how we have not organized our systems. And our president was very, very clear in his mind that one of the sectors that he was going to streamline when he gets to the office is health. And I am here today to report that something is happening in Kenyan space, because Kenya is a place that you know very well, where you'll find yourself on a stretcher in a hospital which has got the medical treatment that you would really save, that would really save your life, but you're there on the stretcher in the casualty because you don't have deposit for the hospital. You don't have deposit for the bed. It is a place where you'd find yourself having gone through an accident, and while you have a bed because you're brought in a hurry, you cannot be taken to theater because there's no deposit for you to go to theater. I am sure here in the United States of America, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are Chokora, whoever you are normally treated first, then you speak about bills later. And that is what has enabled you people to feel comfortable wherever you go, because you know you're in safe hands. That is not the case in Kenya. You will know the truth when you lose your loved ones. You remember the famous matangas? In the matangas, you do not raise funds just to bury people or loved ones. You raise money to be able to cater first for the hospital bill so that the body can be released to you. We even retain bodies in the hospitals for you to clear millions, for you to get just a lifeless body to go and dispose. That is our law we have sunk as a country. But I want to tell you, the Kenya Kwanza administration, through the initiative of the president, has taken the initiative to ensure this is going to be a thing of the past. 1 month ago, almost 2, the president assented to 4 health bills that are going to change the landscape of how health is managed in Kenya. The problem number 1 of the social health insurance, which is just what I've described, was being faced because even the social health insurance that we have in Kenya, popularly known as NHIF, which you know very well, is designed in a way that at one point you exhaust it. So what happens when you exhaust your NHIF and you have a chronic disease or you have an emergency, it means you are doomed to die, or you cannot be treated, or you have to have fundraise. The same NHIF, in terms of contribution, it's not everybody who contributes. And even if you normally contribute faithfully, there's a possibility at one point in time you'll not be able to get the service because it may have been used by people who just contributed for a short time and left. The design was not the best. So in the place of NHIF, now we have a bill, we have an act that has created an authority, which is called Social Health Authority, that has got 4 funds. Actually 3, not 4. Fund number 1 is Primary Healthcare Bill Fund, which is going to take your insurance or cover you up to the primary level, up to level 4 hospital. And the same bill ensures that you cannot self-check yourself or self-refer yourself to a hospital. It is only in Kenya, I don't know how you do it here in the States, but I know it's not the case, where you wake up in the morning and decide, the way I'm feeling, I can only be treated at Kenyatta National Hospital or Eldoret Moi Teachers and Teaching and Referral Hospital, and then you find yourself there in the queue competing with the very needy people who have chronic diseases just for your flu. Had you gone to your dispensary, this would have been sorted and you go back home. So that bill ensures also you cannot self-check yourself into a hospital. You have to be checked through the system. You must go through the dispensary will refer you to the health center will refer you to the level 4, and if you have to be referred to level 6 or level 5, it has to be through referral, not self-referral. That will streamline a lot of things. The same bill discovered that when you exhaust your NHIF and you have chronic disease, then you're on your own, and therefore it has a fund separate from the primary healthcare fund that will take care of you when you're in level 4 and level 5. And eventually there's another fund to take care of you when you have either chronic disease or an emergency. It means, therefore, that it does not matter where you are at in terms of disease burden, you'll be taken care of. Where will the money come from? Because that is what you'll ask us. What is different? What is different is this. One, NHIF contribution, which was said to be mandatory, faced a lot of challenges when it comes to the informal sector. It is possible to enforce to people who are employed either informally or in government as civil servants. But what will you do about mama bogas who cannot be able to contribute? What will you do about your Kali guys who need who need that insurance for them to be treated? So we discovered that while Mama Mboga was contributing 500 shillings, and they do so in advance because they cannot pay per month, they pay the whole year. That is 6,000. The people who are employed will only pay at the end of the month with their paycheck. And therefore it means when they get treated, most of the time they will not be treated with their fund, they'll be treated by the Mama Mboga fund. Because it's Mama Mboga who was paid all the way to the end of the year, isn't it? And therefore, we found it fit in that bill. While Mama Mboga is contributing 500 in this one, and the civil servants are contributing between 1,200 and 1,700, that is now where the president was, we realized that the burden of disease of burden is being carried by Mama Mboga. Because imagine, if governor who is employed like me is paying 1,200, and Mama Mboga is paying 500, who is paying more? It is Mama Mboga. But Mama Mboga has no even way of taking herself to Kenyatta National Hospital. So I'm the one who goes utilizes her money at Kenyatta National Hospital. So we have changed that, and now every civil servant, every employee has to contribute 2.75% of their pay. That means that they will be able to pay depending on their paycheck. And to encourage Mama Mboga to pay more for those who are defaulting, we are reducing that down to 300, and we hope that, Madam Senator, when it comes to Parliament, you will pass it. And that there will be no reason for default. So that we can take away the burden of those people calling you all the time to go and attend Matanga and be able to sort them out. The second bill that has been signed into act by the president is the bill that takes away that tedious process that you've been having of having to chase health records around the country. The highest or the biggest killer or kills our people, or the biggest disease that kills our people is not what is actually ailing them. It is mostly diagnosis and lack of records. You remember the famous Kitabu ya Hospitali? That half book, the quarter book, that mama cannot afford to buy a full one. It is half and then put in the kiondo, and it's carried all the time until it has grown some years. They sometimes forget it when they're going to hospital. If they find themselves in Nairobi visiting their daughters and they fall sick and the book is at home, they cannot remember what they were ailing from or what they were treated for at home. They check themselves into Lucy Kibaki Hospital in Sakaja's county. They have to give the story. They may be given the same medicine that were given before and became resistant. What does that mean? That they are likely to deteriorate rather than get cured. We have passed what we call a digital health bill that is going to digitize the whole country, so that in your county, every facility is linked to another facility in terms of health records. And your county is also linked to all the other 47 counties. And by extension, it is also linked to the 6 or 5, level 5 and 6, level 6 hospitals in Kenya. That will mean there is no one time a Kenyan will be asked by a doctor, what were you given when you went to hospital 4 months ago? By clicking into the system and feeding your ID card number, your records will be there. It is only that the level of access will depend on whether you're a nurse, whether you're a clinical officer, whether you're a doctor. It has different levels of access so that we also safeguard data for our patients. And thirdly, it is very unfortunate that a lot of funds are normally generated in hospitals by poor patients. When Mama Mboga goes to the hospital, they have to pay for the service. However, by the PMF Act that we passed as Parliament, endorsed by Senate, all the monies are collected in any level of government must be swept back to the central bank in the treasury in an account called CRF, County Revenue Fund. It does not matter whether that money was collected from hospital, whether it was collected from sand harvesting, whether it was collected from selling bananas, they all go to the same account. And therefore our hospitals and our patients who are voiceless compete for the same funds with MCAs, with governors, with CECs, and everybody else. And therefore, because that money is sitting there and the MCAs want to go for benchmarking in USA, you can't tell them there's no money. You take that money, you give them, they go to USA so that they don't impeach you, and you don't buy drugs. And therefore, your people continue suffering because the money was used for something else. So we have passed another law that has been signed by the president called Facility Improvement Fund, where all the funds collected from the facilities in Kenya must not leave the facility, must not leave the county, but instead will be utilized there, and we be accountable the same way we are accountable for that money when it goes back to Nairobi in CRF. That way, it does not matter whether the exchequer from the national government is delayed. You will still be able to buy your drugs, you will still be able to pay your doctors, and life will continue. The last one, and this is very, very important. We discovered that one of the reasons why Kenya and Africa are suffering is because we were focused on treating diseases and we do nothing about preventing them to happen. So we come in when it's too late, when people have already been diagnosed with cancer stage 4, to start running around for treatment. We come in too late when a patient has had high blood pressure for the last 2 years without anyone knowing, and we discover it's too late, they have to be on drugs throughout their lives. And we realize it is possible to have a primary care network that will ensure that we diagnose diseases very early by having health workers who live with our community. And it is true that the Primary Health Care Bill, or Act, has introduced a health worker called community health promoters. Initially, they used to be called community health volunteers. These people, one takes care of 10 families in the village, and in Kenya, we have a total of 107,000 in the 47 counties who are kitted with a gadget for reporting because they are attached to the nearest health center. They are also, in that kit, it has simple gadgets to be able to diagnose simple onset of diseases in the village. These are equipments like high blood pressure machines, glucometer, which measures the amount of sugar in your body. They are able to ensure that kids attend clinics on time, antenatal and prenatal, and also have their vaccination on time. This army of workers have changed the landscape of disease burden in Kenya. We have realized by empowering them, we have reduced the queues in the hospitals, we have reduced the number of patients in almost all levels, and we are spending less money in curative because we are spending less in preventive. A shilling that is spent in prevention saves 9 in curative. And we believe that if this succeeds, then we will be having a very healthy nation, and we'll stop overburdening you in diaspora to send money for matanga, send money for hospital bills, so that you can be able to focus on other things. We ask you to urge your people not to resist from paying the new, they will call it new NHF because it will take time to teach them it's not NHF anymore. So if they tell you you've been told to pay 300, tell them pay. Get your card, because that is going to save your life. And we believe that if this is sustained, Kenya is going to be on the same map where America is today. I'm happy that we're informed America is 247 years old. I had checked and found out that their devolution, or rather the formation of counties and federal government, was done 7 years later. And therefore, they are only 242 years old. Devolution in Kenya is only 11 years old. It was promulgated in 2010, but it came into action in 2013 when we had the first governors. Imagine, only 11 years. And today we have people who are leaving Nairobi to go work in the counties. It means that we are decongesting the city by reversing what we famously call rural-urban migration. Can you imagine people leaving Nairobi to go and be employed in Meru? People leaving Nairobi to go and work in Moranga, in the Kapenguria? It is wonders, because in no time we'll stop having slums in Nairobi, because people get into slums because they're looking for survival in the cities when they are looking for jobs. If jobs are available in the counties, why will people go to Nairobi? Those jobs will not become available unless you, diaspora people, who have the money to invest, and my friend who is doing housing, will stop investing in Nairobi only and start investing in Moranga, Kiambu, Eldoret, Tharaka Nithi, so that we can be able to have Kenya having uniformity. Today, as I finish, you will bear me witness. There are people who are born here in Georgia, and they have never been to DC. Very many of them. So what takes people to Nairobi? If I want to see a shopping mall, if I live in Mwingi, I have to go to Nairobi. If I want to enjoy good coffee of Java, Starbucks, I have to go to Nairobi. But if you have all those things brought to the village, we will stop having rural-urban migration, and Kenya will have uniformity, and that is where we want to go. With those very few remarks, I want to tell you thank you, and please continue investing in Kenya. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bwana Governor. Makofi kwa Governor, jameni. If I may ask, how many of you knew all those things that are going on in the government? All those bills? Siulizi watu wa serikali kwa sababu wote wanajua. So mimi nauliza wananchi. So this is what, Governor, I'm going to request you. Tafadhali, tell fellow governors watutembelee. Acha wakuje tu, watuelezee hii maneno yote yenye inafanyika kwa county. Let them spend only 1 hour on Zoom with diasporans. Let them just organize a diaspora Zoom. We will attend. Ask Madam PS. She will tell you. Ask our former SG. Zoom works for us good. Kwa sababu hata nikuwa pale kazini, niko kwa nursing home kidogo, naweza ingia room ya mtu, niulize swali yangu, nirudi. So tafadhali add them. But we want to thank you for all that you've done. You're championing actually fighting drugs. We appreciate that too. Uko nyumbani. So at this moment, I want to welcome our ambassador. Our ambassador, Lazarus Omayo. He has traveled all over. We have seen him come to each state. And I will also task him with also inviting our PS once he's done with his speech. Tafadhali, makofi ya our ambassador. Karibu sana, Bwana Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Wanaireri. Our chief guest, Madam Roslyn Njogu, the PS State Department of Diaspora, the Governor of Tharaka Nithi, the Senator and popularly known here as the SG, Engineer Ndonga, the chair of the Diaspora Committee that has arranged for this great celebration of Kenya at 60, and the team. Not forgetting, of course, Pastor Gitai, Bishop Gitai, the organizing committee. Ladies and gentlemen, may I take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for inviting us and making it possible for us to join you on this great occasion. I sympathize with the PS Roslyn Njogu because she did more than almost 20 hours of flight. We received her. She didn't get a chance even to go and have a lunch. And Ndonga made sure we came here straight. I was sitting next to her, but I realized she's strong enough. She has not fallen asleep. We wish her the best, but let me not dilute the wonderful remarks, very informative remarks that we've received from His Excellency the Governor, the Honorable Senator, Engineer Ndonga, and the great Kenyans that spoke before, the sponsors. The only thing I would have wanted to say when Engineer Ndonga, next time is if provisions allow, so that, you know, the Secretary General is a lawyer, and Madam Njogu is also a lawyer. In terms of gender representation in the committee, if we can do something about it, so that so that when there are 10 members, of the other gender also, ikiwezekana, but maybe they didn't come, but I believe you have them in your membership. After all has been said, really, what do I need to add but to thank you? As an embassy, our greatest achievement is, on many areas, is through the diaspora. Without the diaspora, work would be very difficult for the embassy to achieve. Whether it is the welfare of Kenyans in the diaspora, at home they'll reach out to the embassy. So-and-so is reported missing, or is unwell, or has passed on. Embassy has no representation in all these cities where you live. It is you. We normally call you, you go out of your way, and you have made it possible for us to link Kenyans in distress with their relatives, and much more so through yourselves. One area, peers, that I would also want to emphasize is to encourage Kenyans to relate or have an arrangement where you meet with other Kenyans wherever you are, because we have had incidences where Kenyans are on their own and nobody knew where they were. And even a more distressing case is where somebody dies and no Kenyan was aware of their existence, and then the challenge of next of kin becomes an issue when it comes to repatriation of remains back to Kenya. We've had, in fact, the last 2 years, 3 cases of disputes of whether the remains are to be buried or cremated in the US or to be taken back to Kenya. Of course, back at home, the parents would carry the day. The parents have said ABCD, but you live in this country, you know, that they go by the states, not even federal. It's a state law. And the state law recognizes next of kin. And so you play such a crucial role on the welfare aspects that the embassy or the government would not be able to do without your input. And for that, I must sincerely thank you and look forward to continued collaboration with you in delivery of services to the Kenyans that are here. We happen to be in a country with which Kenya has very warm, cordial, multifaceted relations. It is also a country that plays a significant part in our economic relations, our exports. The U.S. remains the largest export destination of Kenya outside Africa and accounts for 10% of our overall exports. And as I mentioned last night, trade between Kenya and the United States is fairly balanced, with about, if you take 2022, our exports from Kenya to the U.S. were worth $777 million US. Our imports from the U.S. were around $840 million US, making our bilateral trade worth about 1.5, 1.6 billion, but the potential is much higher than that. And a portion of it comes as a result of your own contributions. Your contributions in exports from Kenya to the U.S., and when I heard the senator speak, that role can be doubled because you know the local market and you can be able to play a part in having exports as long as they create an enabling environment for commodities like coffee to be brought this side without restrictions which used to be there, so that the earnings from coffee, the farmer would be able to get at least even 50%. As at now, the farmer does not even get 40% of the final sale that comes here abroad. But back to where we are. We are celebrating in this country, as I said, because it is a major partner of Kenya. But even when it comes to Kenyan diaspora, this is the cream of the cream of the Kenyan diaspora abroad. Whether it is remittances of the $4 billion that are remitted from the diaspora back to Kenya, you account for 55 to 60%, the Kenyan diaspora in the U.S. And so you are a significant player in this regard, and we are looking at the diaspora beyond, of course, remittances, whether it is skills transfer or networking or even lobbying. You are a crucial contributor to our own welfare. And so when the PS comes today, it is our day. I don't want to engage in areas which the PS would cover because I speak on her behalf when she's not there. But today she is here in person. But let me say that this is a real celebration of relations with the U.S., which, just for a bit of history, in 1963, on 12th December, when we became independent, the U.S. recognized Kenya as an independent state. And on 2nd of March 1964, the U.S. established diplomatic relations with Kenya at ambassadorial level. They appointed Ambassador Atwood as the first U.S. ambassador to Kenya, and Kenya also appointed Ambassador Burudi Nabwera, Mzee Burudi Nabwera, as the first ambassador of Kenya to the United States. So from 1964, we have had diplomatic relations at ambassadorial level, and relations have grown from strength to strength, leading to, in 2018, that relations being elevated to what we call strategic partnership. Strategic partnership that is implemented through annual meetings between Kenya and the United States. And in this strategic partnership, Kenya and the U.S. identified 5 pillars for implementation. Pillar number 1 being economic pillar on matters of trade and investment. Tunaongeza tourism uko pia. Pillar number 2 is on defense cooperation. Pillar number 3 is on democracy, governance, and civilian security. Pillar number 4 is on cooperation on matters of regional and multilateral areas. Number 5 is cooperation in the field of health, and we brought the 6th one now, cooperation in the field of environment and climate change. These are areas in which we cooperate with the U.S., and as I said, the U.S. remains a significant partner. We collaborate on matters of not only democracy and governance, but also on civilian security. We, therefore, regard you as avenues for further promotion of Kenya-U.S. relations for the mutual benefit of our own people back at home. I'm also looking forward, permit me, Piers, to say that I'm also looking forward to a time when we'll be having, like we used to have when I was High Commissioner in London, we used to have Kenyans that are also elected. In the UK, we had Kenyans who were elected as councillors, even Kenyans who are mayors, right? And we used to argue that time, I think that time Nigeria had a large number of members of parliament. India had around 11, Pakistan had 10, Nigeria had around 5. We had about 10 councillors. And we had a mayor also in the eastern part of London. I hope that Madam Njogu will one of these days come to celebrate Kenyans who have been elected to be to be council members, state senators, or even those at the Capitol Hill itself. It doesn't have to be those that are elected by Kenyan votes. Kenyan votes alone will not be able to elect you. But you hold a crucial part that ambassador may not be able to have. If you are active in constituencies where you are in this country, and you become relevant to those that are seeking votes, because your vote means a lot. Next time they'll respect you more because you voted them. When we had the incident, the great occasion in New York with the mayor of New York, it was made easier because in his committee are Kenyans who participated also in his election. So when you have an issue, you just call the Kenyan is able to reach the mayor, and your work is done. And so we are looking forward to a situation where we can partner and where we can, with assistance, we chip in, and you focus not only on the good, but also not only on the bad, but also the good things that are happening. We have challenges and opportunities. Madam Njogu has already exhibited competence in managing challenges and opportunities on matters regarding diaspora, to an extent that even when I was being given credit, it wasn't really my credit. It is Madam Njogu who facilitated the embassy to provide the mobile consular services that we were able to extend in April. She footed the bill, so I must acknowledge that she footed the bill that made us to provide those services right from Seattle to Minnesota to Kansas to Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, Atlanta, Florida. And Atlanta, you did a lot. You did well, because during that service offered to 10 cities within the US, facilitated by PS Diaspora and PS Immigration, we were able to process 3,001 passport applications. We were equally able to do 1,311 identity cards. And out of those, 542 passport processing was done here in Atlanta, Georgia. And that was quite an encouraging one. Even for the IDs, you did 306. Those were actually, after Seattle, the highest registration was here itself in Atlanta, Georgia. And so, Piers, you spent money, but it was money worth spent. And imagine Imagine 500 people looking for flights to go to Washington, D.C. to have passport applications processed. The number of 2-3 days that they'll spend traveling, the hotel they'll stay in, is a saving that came as a result of our intervention. And even today, she agreed again to be able to, I'm hearing Boston here, she was again able to facilitate the ongoing mobile consular services that are being rendered here for the sake of those that are able to come. Now, Mzee Muite has already said it, but I'd already mentioned to PS, it's not news. I told her that in Boston, there are two major cities where there are large populations of Kenya which were not served in the exercise that occurred in April, and that was Houston and Boston. And I've been trying to impress on peers that if akitafuta pesa kidogo tafadhali, we could be able to mount the same in Boston. And peers, those in Boston are saying you're an Harvard graduate. You're part of Boston, so you facilitated all other cities except Boston where you took your LLM from. And Houston, which also indicates that consular services have been offered twice now in Dallas, but not in Houston. And Houston also has a relatively a large number of Kenyans living there. There are many other cities, but this is a response to what His Excellency the President had in December. Discussions were ongoing as to how many consulates could be opened to ease the burden. But you see, opening consulates alone was seen not to be a solution, ultimate solution, because even if you provided 3, you'll still need 4, 5, 10 more. We were then tasked to think out of the box. And as a result, PS Njogu went straight into the initial arrangements of making those services closer to the people, closer to you, the way you did. And I cannot forget to thank the diaspora for even organization of those services. Embassy would have not done it alone. Even to provide venues, 70% of the venues were provided by Kenyans themselves, and in most cases, Kenyan-based churches. So, Pastor Bishop Gitai, tunashukuru sana, wherever we've gone, the churches have been available to provide services to Kenyans, and this has been something that has made our work much, much easier. And so, I've seen, PS, with your permission, many sponsors coming from Kenya to the US. They have added value in our networking. And you have champions like Alex Jamwada and his Charms Media, a framework, a platform that has been able to connect Kenyans and tell our story also, and provide the narrative that others perhaps would not be able to give. And so, you've seen KCB today, you've seen the Wilston. Actually, so many of them do come from the country to the capital, to the US to promote investment opportunities that are available for the diaspora back at home. We have Kenyans of many backgrounds, many experiences. PS, if you looked at even the one by Kulundu, the circle, is a unique one. And it shows you what we can be able to do as a group. But for the consular one, please look at it positively, because yesterday when I was talking to Mzee Muite and Mrs. Muite, but she's also called Mama Njogu. So when we talk of you are Madam P.S. Njogu, but there's also Mama Njogu here. They're looking forward to you visiting that station. And Chamwada was telling me something, of course, that it is not just that Ambassador Nabwera was the first Kenyan ambassador, but he's also the one who is still, by God's grace, is still with us. He's still alive. It's good to celebrate his life as one who was the first to open the Kenyan embassy here with us. And so we celebrate the great contributions of the Kenyan diaspora as Kenya marks 60 days of existence, and we look forward to further opportunities that can be facilitated by the government and yourselves in marketing Kenya as an investment destination, marketing Kenya as a place of unique tourist attractions. And peers, a large number of tourists that continue to go to Kenya because at some stage a large number of them were invited by our own diaspora to visit Kenya. And why am I saying that, peers? It's because those who had never visited, once they visited with the Kenyans and they get to know the country, have been able to go back on their own as repeat tourists. These repeat tourists is what helps to sustain our tourism industry, because they are able to say, no, but the travel advisory was only on this part of the country. So I can still go to other parts of the country and I'm fully covered. Those repeat tourists are as a result of the efforts, your friends. As Master of Ceremony was talking about, please also encourage your children to visit Kenya, because, peers, there's a challenge. We are celebrating the 4 billion diaspora remittances to Kenya. But there's a danger, because that is for the generation in the US who were born in Kenya. But their children who are born in the US will not be sending those remittances philanthropically or to support cousins and nephews and nieces back at home. Already they're asking, why are you sending money? I'm a civil. Yeah, they're saying, why are they not working? All I'm trying to say is, please try to encourage them to visit. They can go as tourists. And if they buy some of the houses you have here, they have a reason for going to Kenya to see their property. But when it comes to supporting relatives, the culture is slightly different from yours and mine. You and I who are born in Kenya will continue our role to be able to support all those we can support. But for sustainability, it is important that we go beyond helping a relative, but at least helping them to look at the investment opportunities with high returns. Because even if you take, like SG was talking about here, how much do you get when you have your fixed deposit in US dollars here? How much? 1%, 2%, 3%, you may be lucky. But back where SG and PS are back in Kenya, at least we'll be guaranteeing you not less than 10%, even higher. Even what we give you on your dollar account is higher than what you get here in the US, and your money would still be secure. And so, since it was P.S. Njogu's day, but you see, the ambassador was given the microphone, but because he's happy of what P.S. Njogu has done, and still lobbying that if she can finance, I have another group in Dallas celebrating their Jamhuri Day on the 9th, and they are also lobbying hard if they could get consular services. From the embassy, we don't have the budget. We are exhausted. But once in a while, when we get something from P.S. Njogu, it makes our work easier. But in this regard, thank you very much, the Kenyan diaspora. We are proud of you. You make our work easier. And but permit me to say, there are many good things about Kenya. Let us not concentrate on the few unfortunate cases. That happens in any country, even here where you are, right? As we said, we are a gateway to East Africa. We are the largest, we are the regional, commercial, financial, transportation, and communication hub. As I said yesterday during the dinner with the African Americans, in terms of Africa, if you talk about the top 7 leading economies in Africa, Kenya is one of them. After Nigeria, the next is South Africa, then you go to Egypt, you go to Algeria, then after Morocco, you come to Kenya and Ethiopia. We only read from one book in the Bible called Lamentations. Bishop Gitai will tell you there are 66 books, right? So please read the other 65 also. Don't just concentrate on Lamentations. There are other books with great hope also. That yes, we have a country that is promising, we've had our challenges, but which other country has not had? Which other country could claim what we have? But peers will talk about some of those. You have a beautiful country, the only one God has given us, and also well respected. Even on our bilateral with the US, Kenya is a country that is also consulted on issues to do with Africa. We may have challenges, but beyond, a prophet may not have honor in his own village, but that, but that doesn't mean it is not an important one. It is an important one. And so help us in fulfilling the priorities that the government has already put in place now, as we said last night. Priorities that will be able to propel the country in its desire to move beyond the lower level middle class status, whether it is on matters of agriculture, as the President has indicated, or health, or housing, or micro, small, and medium scale enterprises, or even on the digital superhighway and creative industry and related opportunities that exist, whether it is in the logistics, the energy side, all and manufacturing. There are myriads of opportunities that are available for Kenya. And last but not least, Kenya is important for you as an investor and your American friends to invest in Kenya because of the market access that is available through Kenya. Market in East Africa, as SG talked about, market in COMESA, market in the African Continental Free Trade Area, and what we have for export to Europe under Economic Partnership Agreement, the EPAs, which allows us to have duty-free, quota-free exports to Europe. And last but not least, the AGOA, Market Access, African Growth and Opportunity Act, which is due for renewal in 2025, but it allows us to export goods to the US duty-free, quota-free. And this is where we are saying that, can we diversify the basket? The basket has very limited commodities of export. What are they? Number one, textile and apparel, accounting for over 60% of Kenya's export. Then comes what? Coffee. Unlike UK where tea is the highest, here in the US we export more coffee than tea. So what comes? You have coffee, you have tea, you have nuts. Sio nut ya, hii nut ya kula, sio ile nut ya. We have tree, I mean, the cashew nuts and the tree, the macadamia and the likes, and we have cut flowers, and then we have iron ore. Those are our major export, but 65% are textile and apparel. I think we can be able to diversify and also add value to the other commodities, and that can be done by you. And so, let's have another opportunity when the PS is not there. We can have other longer discussions, but today, permit me therefore, in closing, to thank you most sincerely, wish you well for Jamhuri, and wish you well for the Christmas festivities that are oncoming. And PS, it's rare to get such a large number in a Thanksgiving weekend. This is like convening a meeting during Christmas. And so I must thank those who are able to come to meet with you on this great occasion. PS has done us proud. She has been able to put the Department of Diaspora into focus, creating access, visibility, and giving hope that you matter. We must listen to you. We are here to serve you. Please help us to serve you better. And with that, may I kindly request the Principal Secretary, the State Department of Diaspora, to kindly come forward, convey greetings of His Excellency the President and His Excellency the Deputy President, and speak on our right. And as we are standing, she is, of course, the first and the only PS we have had responsible for diaspora. PS, karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Balozi. Asanteni sana, naomba mkae tafadhali. I want to just adopt the protocols that have already been erected and stand on them. But let me first start by thanking you all for having me here. Nashukuru sana. It's really a pleasure to be here. I haven't been in Atlanta since 2009, I think. So I'm very happy to be back and to just to be with you. Balozi, Ndonga, SG, Mchungaji, Kenyans, my team from Nairobi, my team from DC, and the rest of you, it's really a pleasure to be here. Now, so much has been said. So many good things have been said. So let me just start then by saying I'm honored this evening. Is it evening? It's evening. It's evening. It's evening. I'm sorry, I am rather jet lagged. I'm honored to be here in Atlanta with you, to meet with you, and I bring greetings from His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President, who was supposed to be here with you today, but at the last minute could not make it, and directed me to come and bring you greetings and bring you his message of goodwill. Na kusema in advance, Happy Jamhuri Day. Happy Jamhuri Day. As you know, since the inception of this State Department, we have had many of these conversations. We've had many meetings to talk about what we want to do going forward, the mandate of the State Department, the work that has already been done, and so on. And these fora form a big part of our job. As you know, part of our mandate really is to engage with the diaspora. So when I come to these meetings and we have these conversations, these are what those of us who are lawyers call billable hours. But let me start by saying, maybe let me start with the end in mind. Balozi has just said that many times we read a lot from the Book of Lamentations. And as he spoke about that, and as I listened to the other speakers who came before me, I kept thinking around, we are now 60 years old, at least 60 years old. So at 60, what should the diaspora be thinking about? What are the things we ought to be concerned about as a diaspora, as a people? I want to invite us, similar to what I believe it is Paul in one of his epistles said, that we need to move past drinking milk and begin to eat meat. And that is what I want to invite you on a journey with me to do. I have said before that the diaspora is a decolonizing force. What do I mean by that? I don't even want to go much into conversations around remittances, but I'll use the remittance to make my point. Last year, the diaspora, Kenyan diaspora sent home $4 billion. That is more than Forex in terms of tea, what we sell in terms of coffee, horticulture, tourism, or foreign aid. The amount of money that Kenyans sent home to pay for school fees, to pay rent for their families, to pay, to help pay medical bills and so on, that money was much more than what is sent in terms of foreign aid. The diaspora is a decolonizing force. What can a powerful, strong, engaged diaspora do for a country? If in an uncoordinated fashion, just because I'm sending a little M-Pesa here because my uncle is sick, because I'm sending a little M-Pesa here because my young brother is going to not meet his school fees and so on, in an uncoordinated way, you've been able to send that kind of money home. Can you imagine what we could do if you could coordinate? Can you imagine what we could do if you would actually pull together and make a plan and say, this is the thing that we are going to do? When I was nominated for this job, you might know that I had to go to Parliament and be vetted. And I had to do a lot of research and basically present my case before Bunge. And as I was doing that and I was doing my reading, I established that World Bank numbers indicate that this amazing Kenyan remittance only accounts for 5% of diaspora's disposable income. 5%. That's to say you were not even trying. Yeah? It's the money that you send home for something small. It's 5%. Okay? And that's okay because that's money you send to do little things here and there. I also established that 80% of the money you send home is for these needs, is for burials, is medical care, is rent, is school fees. Only about 20% accounts for investment. In other words, we've not even tried. We've not even scratched the surface. Can you imagine what you could do? Or can we imagine what we could do if you could actually put your money into an investment that is good for you and that is good for this country? Balozi has already indicated, and SG as well spoke about what the returns back home are. Last week, I got a text message from my bank indicating that the new CBK rate for an infrastructure bond is actually 17%. There are opportunities back home. I am looking forward to seeing you all during the Diaspora Investment Conference between the 13th and the 15th, where you can come and find out about all of the different available opportunities for you to invest. Okay? So, can you imagine what you could do? Let me ask you that question differently. Many countries have, or let me say a few countries have had their destiny changed by their diasporas. I have in mind countries like Israel, or I have in mind countries like Ireland. More recently, we've had conversations around countries like India or the Philippines. So, my people, the Kenyan diaspora in the US, what will your story be for the next 60 years? Now that we are done with these 60 years, somebody said, we are 60, therefore we are a baby. Now that's done. We're moving on to eating meat. We're moving on beyond 60. What will your story be? What will that look like? What will the next 60 years be? You've already been told, and I have told you this before, that you are the sharp end of the spear, isn't it? You came out here, you succeeded by yourselves. We probably did not support you as much as we could have, but you are here, you are succeeding, you have done all of these amazing things. The sharp end of the spear. So, what will the next 60 years look in terms of technology transfer? what will they look like in terms of investment? What will they look like in terms of revolutionary things that you do at home? What will they look like in terms of networks? I want to organize meetings where I call the diaspora to come and brainstorm on a problem that Tharaka Nithi is dealing with. And you can sit around and say, here in this country that I live in, this is what we've been able to do. You're an amazing part of us. We want you to be a big part of us. And we want to engage you in the ways that matter. Okay. Now, Balozi has also said, and now I've completely put aside my notes, and now I'm just responding to what other people said. Balozi has already said that, like many other countries, we have amazing things that happen and a few bad things that happen, as happen everywhere. But I think like many human beings, we tend to capitalize on the few bad things. Yeah? Okay. So this is my turn to tell you a few more good things that we have done at home so that you can have stories to run with. Did you know, for example, that in this year, while we've had our State Department for the 11 months, we're about to celebrate our first anniversary. We have had to mount 2 evacuations from war zones. Yeah. We are in the middle of an evacuation from Israel, Gaza, getting Kenyans who are in that area home. But in April, we mounted an evacuation of Kenyans out of Sudan. Now, apart from Egypt that shares a border with Sudan, we were the first country to get our people home. I want you to just realize how big that is. By the time the Brits were getting home, BBC was running adverts and was showing a British Airways flight. It is on air now. It is going to land in 1 hour. And I was watching it from my office, and I'm thinking, I have people. I mean, my people landed quite a long time ago. Nobody's giving me coverage on BBC, but my people are home. I say this for you to know, first of all, that just because you don't see it on the media doesn't mean it's not happening, 1. 2, I say that for you to understand that this flag has an extremely important symbol here in the middle, which is a shield. Which is a shield. What does that shield mean? It's protection. It's a cover. That shield is fashioned after the Maasai shield because we are a nation of warriors. But apart from being a nation of warriors, we wear it on our flag so that when you see it, you know your country will come for you. Okay? When you see Balozi flying this flag, it is for you to know that here, where that flag flies, is sanctuary. You will have cover. And we will come for our people. So I take the opportunity to tell you about the work that we've been able to do, particularly in rescuing diaspora and evacuating them from difficult places so that you hold your head up a little higher, but also so that you know that there are people who work hard and who will come for you. Now, having said that, we are also concerned about some of the things that have come out of here, not just here. And this is a family meeting, so we are concerned about mental health issues that have been raised in this forum and many other fora. Balozi will be sharing through you our communication for you to give us more information about this so that we are working on a mental health action plan for you to be able to work with us. And we really hope, particularly those of you who are leaders, faith leaders, you're going to be able to support us in this work. I want to say two more things. Diaspora in Trade. A presentation was made about coffee and many other conversations around how can we push these products? How can we sell our products a little more? It's a conversation that's going on in Nairobi as well within GOK. We are trying to understand. We know that we have an amazing resource here, okay, that can help push product, that can help pull product, that can make business out of what we already sell. We're trying to understand what that strategy would look like. We invite you to work with us to think through it. Because indeed, you're already here. You've already opened the pathways. We want to see how the Honduras conversation can be repeated. Now, I want to thank you, Diaspora, which Belos already did, for the amazing work you've already done, particularly here in Atlanta during the mobile consular services of April, and those that are going on now. Where I have gone after that, I have told them that they really need to try and support the diaspora, need to support themselves as well as the Atlanta diaspora, because I'm told you set up an entire system with volunteers and everything ran very, very smoothly. MCS runs with different variations of smoothness in different parts of the world. So you have been kielekezo chema. I have been telling them you ought to be like your brothers and sisters in Atlanta. I want to thank you for the work that you did. These services, getting these services to you is not just your right, as was mentioned, but it is an obligation that we have as government and that we intend to fulfill. When I talked about moving past drinking milk, when I talk about what we're going to be known for the next 60 years, it's because I want us to stop having to deal with the small, small things. Getting people passports, getting IDs, getting citizenship, that's entry-level stuff. And those are things, those are like ankle biters. We want to just be done with those things so we can move on to bigger, more important conversations. Okay? So this is not something we want to be talking about all the time. It used to be, I think, when I first took this job, a lot of my time was spent answering questions around passports, IDs, and things like that. Isn't it, Balozi? Now we're dealing with it, and now we're talking about, let's talk about investment, let's talk about diaspora in trade, let's talk about technology transfer, and let's talk about diaspora as a decolonizing force. So I want to thank you for that. I have had the request for Boston and for Houston. I will set aside money for Boston and for Houston. I also wanted to, I've already invited you to the conference. I know a number of you are already coming. I've seen your registrations. And I wanted to note, even for the sponsors who are still here, KCB and so on, that we're looking forward to seeing you also in Nairobi. I wanted to flag for you as well, in case you didn't know, that now DAO CSD, which I had mentioned earlier to you, is already up and running. And that is the CBK app through which you can buy and sell government bills and bonds directly from your phone. You can quite simply download that now and be able to do that directly on your phone. Colleagues, we have recently received an expanded mandate. We are now, for the longest time had a 6-point mandate, but in the last 2 weeks or so, the president has given us an extended mandate. We now have mandates around ensuring that we can help Kenyans find more opportunities abroad. But of an interest to you is we have extended mandates to ensure that diaspora are increasingly involved in the democratic process. So we will have conversations about how to be able to deepen that engagement. As I conclude, Wakenya wenzangu, I want to reiterate the point on unity of purpose. It's important that you continue to work together And I'm very happy to see that you've gathered here and you continue to gather together, whether it is for celebrating national holidays such as this one, whether it is for investment and so on. I'd like to spur you on and say that there are some small diasporas that are doing very interesting things, and I'm saying this so that I can niwawashe moto kidogo. Maybe I can tell you a little bit about some of the ones, one of the diasporas that we are proud of in Ireland. Kenyans in Ireland have come together and have established a health care facility that actually offers specialized health care for children with autism and developmental delays in Kenya. I know a number of you here work in healthcare and in that space. And we want you increasingly to link that back home. Okay, link that back home. Make those investments. And we are here as a State Department to support you. We are happy to work with you to help you navigate through the government bureaucracy to sort out your investments, and this is what we are here for. Another group that I launched, and these ones, some of them are a part of you, recently launched apartment, housing unit called Kitisuru Amani Gardens. I had a group of 17 from Canada offering free medical services and so on. There's always exciting things going on from various bits and pieces of the diaspora. And I know there are some exciting projects from this particular diaspora, but I don't want, sitaki kuwapigia debe kwa sababu nataka mkuje nyumbani. We launch them and we get them moving. I want to close with this. I want to close by saying this. Sometimes it is important that we know where to get our information from. There is very often a lot of information, misinformation, disinformation, especially on social media, around what is going on at home, what government is doing, what government is not doing. Every day, I think, I find out news about myself on the internet as well, of things that I am surprised that I am doing, and so on. We've had a lot of conversation around the JKIA that SG talked about and our welcome culture. And to say that we are already working on our welcome culture. Those of you who will come home in December, you will find something amazing. We are working on that welcome culture. My request, my prayer, my ask of you who are not just diaspora, but you're our ambassadors here. Many people will never meet me. Many Americans will never meet me, but they will meet all of you because you live here. When you say on social media that, my goodness, JKA is so bad, I'm never gonna go home, and you share photos of AI-generated suitcases to show how JKA is jam-packed, or who does that hurt? Especially the fake ones. Does it hurt government? Perhaps. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Does it hurt? But who does it hurt when people cannot eventually come and stay at a hotel in Kenya? It hurts the hotel owners. It hurts the waiters. It hurts the taxi drivers. It hurts everybody. Because somebody saw this information and decided, I'm going to go to Rwanda. Oh, Rwanda doesn't have $500 tax on $500. By the way, they do. It's the same law. It's for the entire region. Okay, just to be clear. In other words, let's not be those kids who go and say bad things about home, right? We can fight at home, but when we're out here, we gotta present yes, msichome picha is what I'm saying. Msichome picha ukunje, and then we can deal with those things. I am not belittling the issues. The issues are being handled. I'm just saying that these things have an impact on small businesses. So let's be careful what we do, all right? These things are also sometimes created by our neighbors who are trying to get business next door. Okay. All right. I know there are a few questions that people wanted to ask, so maybe I will leave it at that so that I can hear the questions and hopefully we can engage after that. Let me finish by saying that there is a call for public participation on the new rules on citizenship papers. There's a Gazette notice around new rates for passports and for IDs and so on, and there is a call for public participation that you would kindly engage on that. Having said that, allow me to end my conversation by going back to, if diaspora is a decolonizing force, and we are now at 60 years, Kenyans in Atlanta, Kenyans in the US, what will you bring Kenya? What will you bring Kenya? Asanteni sana.
Asante sana, Madam PS. Makofi kwa Madam PS tafadhali. Thank you very much. Thank you for not only representing the government of Kenya, tunaweza keti, not only representing the government of Kenya, but also representing us as diasporans to the government of Kenya. So we really thank you and sincerely thank you for that. At this moment, I don't even actually have much to say. As we are setting up here, Caroline Mutoka, we have this diaspora national anthem. I just needed to just sing the first stanza as we're getting things here. On the Q&A, there's a lot that was said about the questions we were going to ask. So I'm going to kindly request, let's not repeat the questions that have been addressed by both Madam PS, our senator, the governor, our ambassador. They've addressed a lot of issues about the ID issue, the airport issue. I was actually going to ask those questions on behalf of a lot of people because from different states that we came from, those are the questions that were being asked. So just one stanza, and then we move on to this Q&A as they're drinking some water to get their throats good.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just want to say among the number of years that was mentioned, 1998 was counted, and I'm a survivor of that embassy bombing. And God is great that I'm here. P.S. I want to ask you that, you know, we are fighting for compensation, and it's now for the Foreign Affairs to talk on our behalf. 213 people died. 5,000 were injured. We are still crying. I'm not going to lamentation. I'm only speaking. Thank you. Yeah, the Senate. Mm-hmm.
We empathize with you, but we thank God you're okay.
Thank
and
you.
You survived the blast.
Yes.
We are doing something in Senate about the bomb blast victims who are not compensated because the American citizens were compensated, all those who were involved in the bombing, and we realized that it's the Kenyans who did not get any compensation. So there's an ad hoc committee at the Senate, which is led by Senator Agnes Modama. They have done extensive work on this issue. They have done stakeholders engagement. They are now planning, we extended for them their time frame because they are time lapsed for that ad hoc committee. We have extended their time frame with another 90 days to give them adequate opportunity to approach the Senate from the United States to ensure that they can approve and give a resolution for the compensation to be done for the victims. So you will soon hear the ad hoc committee of Senate from Republic of Kenya coming to the US, and we hope they will succeed. I think we've responded to that.
Thank you. Let me reiterate what the Honorable Senator has said, that yes, a request was received from the Senate back at home in Kenya, and what has delayed is an appointment by their counterparts on the US side. There were two particular senators that are crucial in this regard from the US side, and because of the challenges which were there on election of the Speaker and the likes in the US, in the Congress, dates had not been given. But let me emphasize that is a matter that we are following up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We can give applause on that. And I want to mention, Ambassador, that I'm the person who initiated that, and I truly appreciate our government for what they are doing. We just ask all the diasporians to support that, because when they come here, they will be lobbying for that matter. Thank you so much.
Peers, with your permission, this is another area where your role is crucial. We do a lot when it comes to the executive. When it comes to the Hill, you play an equally very important part. That member, that House representative, that senator whom you voted, is ultimately the one who is going to make a decision. So where you can reach out to your representative or reach out to your senators, it is important, because ultimately it is the Capitol Hill that will make a decision on compensation of non-American citizens, because American citizens were compensated. I just wanted to emphasize that we'll do our part, but you as a voter in the US, please extend that hand to your senator and to your House representative. I thank you.
Thank you so much. And to add on that, the act that we are looking for to be amended affects all Kenyans. In case something happens here as a bombing, any Kenyan here will not be compensated. But if we follow up with that and fight for that, all Kenyans will be compensated in case of anything. So it's an act that is supposed to be amended so we can be included. Thank you all. The Diaspora Anthem.
Napenda nchi yangu Kenya, nchi yenye amani, nchi yenye upendo, nchi yenye utulivu. Napenda nchi yangu Kenya, nchi yenye amani, nchi yenye upendo, nchi yenye utulivu. Mimi ni mwana Kenya, mimi ni mzalendo, mimi ni mwana Kenya, mimi ni mzalendo, hata nikiwa ng'ambo, mimi ni mzalendo, hata nikiwa mbali, Kenya ni nchi yangu. Hata nikiwa mbali, Kenya ni nchi yangu. Mungu ibariki Kenya. Wakenya popote tulipo, tuelewe haki zetu. Kenya ni mama yetu. nikiwa ng'ambo, mimi ni mzalendo. Hata nikiwa mbali, Kenya ni nchi yangu. Hata nikiwa mbali, Kenya ni nchi yangu. Mungu ibariki Kenya, najivunia kuwa Mkenya, najivunia kuwa Mkenya. Mungu ibariki Kenya nchi yangu. Mungu ibariki Kenya nchi yangu.
Asante sana. Makofi kwake jameni. You can find that song on YouTube. Please subscribe, see, listen to the song. So this is what I'm going to do. And unfortunately, sometimes I'm forced to make executive decisions because of time. I understand. Sababu ya muda, Madam PS amefika, all that. This program was supposed to end actually at 6 o'clock. And I know we were late to get here, but unfortunately, it's almost 8 o'clock. So this is what we're going to do. I will only give 2 people to ask questions. We did collect some of the questions ahead of time. So the panel discussion that we were going to have here, unfortunately, I'm going to have to cancel. I'm going to have to cancel that because of time. We'll just have the questions and we'll have those answered. And as we do that, I also have a few questions that I'm going to combine all these questions together. So they're all asked together. So we don't have to repeat these questions. Maswali yote yenye nitauliza hapa, we don't have to repeat those questions again. That topic will be done. First and foremost, I know there was an issue of KRA harassment at the airport. That has been answered. Our Honorable Senator answered that, as well as the PS did talk about that. So please, let's not ask about that question at airport. Hiyo imekuwa answered. Sindio? Kuna mtu akona swali juu ya hiyo maneno ya airport? Hapana. Good. All right. The other questions that we had was regarding the identification fees that were increased. How do we go about that? There is actually, if you read the Nation newspaper, there is a public participation that's coming up on that we can ask the Department of Interior, but our Foreign Affairs guys, if they can write this for Madam PS, just to maybe aguzio kidogo together with the passports. She answered that, right, actually. She addressed that, right? Okay. So the biggest one, yenye watu hata wa Midwest, kwanza nilipigwa sana huko. It was regarding tax increases, but if we can address that, and I don't know if actually I can give this to our Honorable Senator just to talk about just the tax increase, if she can answer that for us, why, and that's it. I'll give 2 people just questions, and then we'll wrap it up. So that's what we're going to do. Unfortunately, I have to cancel that panel here just because of time, and then we'll move over to that. So, Madam P, our Honorable Senator, if you can address this tax issue for us, and then we just move on.
That's a difficult question. You know, governments everywhere are looking for money. I don't know whether the U.S. government is looking for money. Today, before I answer on the Kenyan part, I passed through one of the shops. I needed something. And it was heavily discounted because of the Black Friday. And after I had bought, I could see the discounts are coming. It was coming in some that was $65. Now I could see it's $30. So I got one at $33. I got another one. It came down. it was like 28 point something something. So I was getting happier and happier because it saved so much. It had saved like $100 and something. I was like, oh, this is great. Then after the saving, these people in these shops are not kind. They put in tax. All the savings I did in the Black Friday discount, guess what happened? Tax came back, and I said, oh, honestly, I've lost my discounts to the tax. Why? Because maybe governments still have to run on the tax. Don't be cheated by anyone. And everywhere I have seen, not Dubai, we can no longer get things as cheaply as they were coming before. Dubai used to be a very good shopping destination. Not even in Tanzania. Then we calculated with, I was with Apostle Karanja earlier today, and we were calculating the cost of gas here in the US. And I asked him how much he's spending to fill his gas tank. And he said he's spending $75. Is that possible? One tank of gas. Actual 75. We calculated backwards, converted that money. The difference between your gas here in the US and the gas in Kenya, which we call super, we don't call it gas, you guys call it gas. And our super in Kenya, imagine the difference was under 10 shillings. So what does that tell you? There's a market that can regulate the pricing of commodity. In Kenya, we have a market economy. So government can only control things to a certain extent. But to another extent, that control goes to the market. That's what a market economy is. I'm a lawyer, I'm not an economist, so I'll be excused for any mistakes I made in this explanation. When you have a market economy, government doesn't have 100%. Now, when the Kenya Kwanza government came in, we found a whooping debt, the one that our president talks about and repeats many days, until I hope everyone has had it. Maybe close to $9 trillion shillings that needed to be paid. Now, a lot of that debt was maturing. Mnajua dawa ya deni ni kulipa. However much we want to say this government is doing this, is doing that, is doing this, that debt has to be paid. So the first strategy that the government took was to see how we manage that debt. Because in an economy that is affecting a whole country, you must have a strategy on what you are doing with that debt. Otherwise, liquidation will start. Now, to avoid that liquidation, closing in on a whole nation's economy and us losing the shilling or the shilling just going haywire, that debt must be managed. And you must commend, even when times are very tough, that the government has made an initiative to ensure that that debt can be tamed. And I'm not saying we are 100% perfect, because a new system, when it comes in, transition is never easy. Then there was a transition of the way we were doing things. Things were being done differently by the Jubilee administration from how the Kenya Kwanza administration is doing it. Because our philosophy as a government, we came in with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which is a totally different philosophy from what was there before. So you must acknowledge there is transition. There is the world economy that is affecting what is happening, like the fuel pricing. Yet, everything has to be done. You must also acknowledge the good things that are happening. For instance, this is the first government that has made sure it has disbursed the county allocations timelessly, that no county is demanding any shilling from the government. It has never happened. Is that not good? And I think even for you, when you want to maybe change something, build an economy in a better way, build your homes, a better home than you've had, there's somewhere you must tighten. Because if you take up a mortgage, you must pay it back. There's something you must tighten around your expenditure. Maybe utasema sasa niachane na mabags na viatu. Let me concentrate more on reducing what I owe to KCB. There is somewhere we must tighten. So I think the tightening is the one that is gripping everybody. And we all feel it. All of us, not just yourselves. Even at home, we feel it. And I have been told by people here, Kenyans in diaspora, they're also having a hard time here. Things are not as easy as they used to be. The way you used to do shopping is not the way you're doing now. So the increase you see is to be able to manage some of these parameters that must be managed. Now, the change of policy, for instance, on health is to now support this social universal health care program that then makes sure that we have facilities maintained, we have better utilization of resources, and allowing the clinics and the health centers and hospitals to retain their own source within the hospital so that they can be able to inject and improve the facilities and the services. So each has an explanation on its own. Now, when you look at the housing is one of the pillars in the manifesto and the plan of the Kenya Kwanza. What is this housing supposed to do? First, to give you affordable housing, to give the citizens affordable housing. Because if you look at the percentage of mortgages Kenyans have had for the longest, it has been so little because people could not afford to buy homes in Kenya, which is not a tidy space. Housing is a right. It is a right that citizens would be entitled to under Article 43. So what the government is trying to do is also to help citizens be able to achieve socio-economic rights under Article 43. So it's a journey we are walking, and government is taking feedback on many of these things that are coming up. For instance, you saw the IDs when there was a heavy complaint on the IDs and the pricing that was put on the IDs. It was immediately withdrawn so we can have stakeholders engagement. I guess what we need to do is first get more positive. I like what PS has said about, for instance, when you post Kenya negatively, others are not posting. Our neighbor Tanzania is having a ball of a time with the tourism as we post negative vibe on Kenya. Don't post anything negative because that's your uncle and your auntie working out there. And I will never, because myself I'm convinced and I know for a fact, Kenya is the best destination in the world. And nobody can take that from my mouth. It's in my heart. It's written in my heart. Because everybody the whole world over, they want to visit Kenya, where the father of former President Barack Obama came from. Who doesn't want to visit that? Where the Nobel laureate Wangari Maathai was born and raised in the village. Everybody wants to be in Kenya. And I think if we market our country better, foreign exchange will just follow Kenyans where they are. And then the economy will be a little better. So you can dedicate the next 1-2 months between yourselves and the young people around you to say post Kenya in a positive way. Maybe then we'll be able to contain the economic realities, the harsh economic realities that we are facing. And on the dollar, bring it back home. You'll be able to bridge the gap. And don't feel like, tumekosewa sana, sasa hatuleti. It's your home. It's your business. It is not the Ugandans' business. It is the Kenyan business to make Kenya work. And it must work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, tulipe ushuru, tujenge taifa. Haya, maswali. So, this is what I'm going to do. I'll give two gentlemen and 2 ladies, just to be equal. I am not going to be able to get to everybody. So, let me, Cheraisi and this gentleman, and though I had a gentleman there, he was actually the first one. So let me start with him before I come to you. I need 2 ladies, and then I balance it out. And if time permitting, we can squeeze one more. Lakini usiulize maswali ya ID, ilijibiwa, passport ilijibiwa, airport ilijibiwa, tax imejibiwa. Aya, so let me start. Mzee was actually the first one who raised up his hand a way long time. And then I move to somebody else.
My name's Bernard Kehia. Mi swali yangu ni moja tu. CS amesema, to my understanding,
we have the 80% of remittance, ya vitu ndogo ndogo. The 20% is the question, or how we can raise it to maybe 70 or even 100%. Swali langu ni moja tu. We have had issues regarding to the same. Things like development, housing, all these kind of things. We've had gentlemen come here, mess around with our bishop, and mess around with the people, saying that they are going to encourage us in developing, in housing, in all these kind of things. And then we use our money, or we give them our money, only to realize we've been conned. So, if the government can get to these people, avoid us being conned, and get into the system and follow up on these people, because almost everybody have been conned. So, and I believe a lot of people agree with me. So if the government can follow up on this one, and then, we get this kind of help. And that is why we don't have more than 20%. So if we can address this in a legal way, in a government way, then things should be good. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I'll get another question. I had Cheraisi one question, and then I come to you. And then I need two ladies to ask question, or three, just to balance this thing out. And then if I have time, we get to more. Just one question for that.
Okay, mine is not a question, but yeah, I can say a question. Okay, I'm talking about the Immigration Act of 2011. The Constitution gave us a right to be dual citizen automatically. But when you come to Immigration Act of 2011, it forces us to declare, like if you become a dual citizen of another country, you have to declare in 3 months, or else you face punitive jail time or fines. So I want the diaspora department to work for us on repealing that Immigration Act of 2011, or even amend it. Because like when somebody gets a citizenship of another country, they already stamp where you were born as Kenya. And if Article 14 guarantees us dual citizenship, why must we come again and declare or face jail time? Number 2 is to do with the dual taxation. That will go for Senator Veronica Maina. Dual taxation. I know Balosi talked about the partnership we have with the United States. I want that to be addressed, because at the moment, we are, most of us, we are in violation of Kenyan law. We are supposed to be filing taxes on the money we earn in USA, because of we don't have a dual taxation treaty with America. So we need to make sure, like within this administration, pursue that dual taxation treaty with America. Otherwise, we are supposed to be in jail right now in Kenya. Okay.
All right, thank you. Madam PS, should I have one more question before we move on? Or okay, one more question. Oh yes, that was you. And then.
Thank you again for this opportunity. It's good to have you, Madam PS, in our city, and the ambassador, and of course, thanks to the bishop of the church. Mine is not really a comment. I want to talk about that particular piece where you're saying about the 80%, or is it the 20% that should be done by us to Kenya? This is the home of the largest diaspora circle that we started. We have collected assets in terms of savings and investments worth over 1 billion shillings as we speak, from just less than 3,000 people. So we can do it as long as you have those kind of opportunities that are available. So if you open those up for us, we're going to do that. Currently, what you're doing right about now is we have brought in investors from Turkey, no, from Qatar, who are investing in a project of ours with what, about $40 million. So the project that you're having, which is actually Diaspora initiated by our members, we'll have to find a way of getting support from your ministry in terms of allowing us to invest largely in some of these projects that we're actually having out there. But again, karibu sana, it's good to see you back this way. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Also being brief. Do you want to address those first, and then I'll get 2 more questions or 3 more questions, and we'll be done.
No? Yes. Okay. Great. All right. Thank you so much for those questions. I'm sorry I didn't get the names. But I'll respond to them. The first thing I'd say about investing at home, particularly investing in real estate, is this. There is a government system that protects your investment, particularly in land. And there is now a digital registry. So if you own land in Kenya and you don't have an Arthi Sasa account, I would say spend a few minutes and just go to arthisasa.go.ke and create your account. On that account, Arthi, A-R-D-H-I. I've just spelled it out, Arthi Sasa, A-R-D-H-I, Sasa, Arthi Sasa, like land now, all right? That is the government platform on which you register all of your land. That is the government's digital register. Not all property is digitalized yet, but a number of it is. So if you are buying and selling land that is already on that register, you want to make sure that you have your account set up. That's the first thing I want to say. Secondly, I want to say if you're going to buy and sell land, if you're going to buy land, even from our sponsors who are here, it is imperative that you use credible service providers. You must use a credible lawyer. You must use a credible quantity surveyor if you're building. You must use a licensed architect if you're building. That is, security starts with you. That is my responsibility. And I say this as a person who has practiced law for many years. I have seen too many tears from too many people who do not use lawyers until things go badly. It is your responsibility, because it is your money, to secure that money by using a licensed lawyer. We are happy to tell you who is licensed and who's not. And on the Law Society of Kenya website, if you just search the name of the lawyer, you can tell whether they are licensed for that year or not, okay, on the LSK website. So please use lawyers. Don't just purchase land willy-nilly. That said, if there has been fraud, because those cases are there, and you have reported it to the DCI or to the police, do us a copy, because we do follow up those matters. We have followed up where we have been told that Diaspora have lost land or things like that. So if you do, but I want you to report it first to the DCI, for example, if it's a fraud case, and then you copy us. Then we're able to follow up. If you do that even through the embassy, we still follow up. Okay, so that's the first thing on land. So if you're not on Arthi Sasa today, otherwise somebody might be on your Arthi Sasa, I would just say, set it up. That said, the next question was on, so yes, so also let us know who these con people are. If there is a company, because you said that there are people who come here and sell land and people have been defrauded and have lost land. If you see something, say something. Let us know who these people are. Otherwise, we have no way of weeding them out if you're not going to tell us who they are. Okay? Dual citizenship, yes, that is a right. Chair, I see. Oh, there you are. Although every right or most rights in our constitution do have limitations. This one on the Immigration Act, if I'm understanding you correctly, is purely a process issue. So unless there's a specific amendment that you want us to make, I would be very happy to get that, and then working with Bunge, we can work to get that done. I want to say really quickly something about, so the Diaspora Investment, Diaspora Circle, please come for the conference. The Diaspora Investment Conference is going to have bankable, ready opportunities for all of you to basically pick up and invest, whether they're in real estate, whether it's money market, whether it's investment in fintechs and that kind of thing. Those opportunities are going to be available. But importantly, also opportunities to invest directly in the counties. Okay, so if you're interested in investing in Bere, or if you're interested in investing directly in Kathunzweni or wherever, those opportunities are there so that you can come and find them at different ticket sizes. And anything we can do as a State Department to facilitate those kinds of moves, we are happy to help. We have done that for other diaspora associations. I want to say something about double taxation, and then I let SG also say something. Now, Kenya has, I believe, 13 anti-double taxation agreements with 13 countries. My phone has died, but I was going to pull them up for you. We have agreements that say you cannot, if we collect tax, income tax from me in Canada, for example, you can't do it in Kenya as well. Or if I pay my taxes in Canada, then in Kenya I get a credit. We have 13 of those with 13 countries. With the US, ours is draft and under negotiation, okay? So there's already work ongoing. We have this agreement with Canada, we have them with Ireland, we have them with a number of other countries, 13 countries. If my phone revives, I'm happy to share that with you. So I say that to let us know that sometimes a lot of the conversation I hear, particularly from diaspora around taxation, a lot of it is we fear we will be taxed. We are not necessarily already being taxed. We are afraid we are going to be taxed double. I say that because your friends up the border in Canada came at me with, we are being taxed twice. And I was like, but we have a double taxation agreement with Canada. Then it was very clear they weren't being taxed. They were just afraid of being taxed. And we are happy to engage and give you this information, guys, okay? So these are things that we are working on. And Balozi knows this, they're seized of that matter. We are trying to negotiate a DTA with the US and with most of the countries where we have large populations of our diaspora. This is important. But SG, did you want to say something else?
Also, it's important. You've answered it very well. Actually, it's more of a fear. In fact, I was telling him nobody's going to arrest you. Taxation is still an issue of you filed your returns, and if the taxing master has written to you, so a number of people, the taxing master has asked for, say, $200. Surely you don't want to fight over $200. You know, you must look for bigger battles to fight. So when it's little battles like that, those are things you can manage within your ability to manage. But having said that, it's important you understand the taxation regime of where you live. For instance, like here, you must understand it very, very well, because, and they have reasons to fear, because here, you don't skip your taxes. You must pay your taxes. If you don't pay your taxes, there are consequences for not doing that and for not complying. And in many countries anyway now, you truly have to be tax compliant. It becomes a very big issue when you're not a tax compliant person or an entity that is not tax compliant. Even in our country, for instance, you wouldn't expect a bank like the one which is presenting here, KCB, not to be tax compliant. You don't expect Safaricom not to be tax compliant, because how will they trade? You don't expect those corporates, those entities not to be tax compliant. They have to be tax compliant, because first, they are trading with so much money from public resources, and it only makes sense. The moral, ethical, constitutional way is for them to feed back into the country based on what they are already earning in that country in order to grow the economy that is still bringing them the resource. It makes perfect sense, moral sense to do that. But having said that, once you understand the tax regime here, you will also understand, for instance, if you support charity work on the other side, like in Kenya, you're supporting a children's program, you're supporting something to do with the vulnerable and the weak, you're supporting a, say, a HIV program, or whatever the program you are supporting in charity work, then that gives you a tax credit. That is the law here, isn't it? Or it doesn't work like that here? I know here in the UK, it works like that. Yes, maybe we have a CPA here who understands taxation better than myself. Once you understand that,
Thank you, Senator. That is my senator. I'm Peter Jeroge. Most of you don't know I'm from Muranga. She actually went to Kahuhia Girls High School. I went to Kerogo.
Oh, thank you.
Schools that are a few years apart. The charity that you support in Kenya has to be based here. I'm sorry. The charity has to be based here to support Kenya, because there'll be so much tax fraud if we just said we send money to a children's home that nobody knows exists. The charity has to be based here to support there. That is number one. Number two, there is no double taxation. In the United States, look for Form 1116 that gives you credit for foreign taxes. You pay. Anyway in the world. So you get credit for taxes that you pay elsewhere. If you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, or in the United States, they have investments in many countries, but they don't, when they pay taxes over there, they get credit here. I have one issue with the banks in Kenya, though. They ask for a form called W-9. The form W-9 is just like asking, who are you? Tell us who you are. One of the things that we give them there, or they want us to give them, is something we protect here called a social security number. I have an issue with that. Here in this country, employers have started masking that number. They just give you the last 4 digits, and nobody can go after you. Nobody can defraud you if they only know 4 numbers. Bankers, if you're here, start a program where my number is not exposed, is not with some bank manager in Nairobi, who, if he ever finds out what it is worth to me, he might try to sell it. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's very useful information. That if you're giving tax and donations, the organization that is giving that tax and donation has to be registered here first. It's an important clarification so that we don't get this information wrong. The recognition, legal recognition of the donor must start from here. Meaning you must have entities that are doing charity registered in the US, even if now that donation is sent through that entity to the Kenyan entity. Are we together on the floor? And thank you so much, my Muranga resident and brother, for that clarification. And I can hear you know me quite well. I am actually an ex-Kahuhia Girls High School. Yeah. So an important thing, you can get tax credits in the US. That is another very important piece, which I actually didn't know. Meaning, if KRA taxes you today, let's understand this information and application of it. If you're taxed today for, say, $20,000 or $300 in Kenya, you've already paid it. The dual system here, the one you're saying dual taxation, it means it should actually be credited back to you by the US when you pay your tax here. What does that mean? You actually have no complaint.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. So I wanted to give two ladies an opportunity. Lakini wamama mko na swali kweli? All right, yes. Before I come, if I get a chance, I'll come to you. But let me first give this.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Madam PS. This is a question for you. My name is Susan Mugendi, or Susie Mugendi. This question is really inconsequential, but I just wanted to find out. How do you market the Diaspora conference, and who does it target? For example, I just knew about it today. I'll be in Kenya on the 19th. On the 20th of December. Had I known about it, maybe I would have scheduled myself in a different way. And how can we be involved in coming up with those dates? Because I'm very interested in things like that. So how can we be involved in picking up those dates? For example, can it be moved to summer when we have longer holidays in Kenya? I mean, how does all that work? Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. One more lady, because I really had to balance, and then we are done. All right, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Werimo, and I just have a quick question. So my question is on healthcare and technology. We have deep congestion in public hospitals like Kenyatta Hospital. We have issues where our systems don't integrate and don't communicate when you go into the hospital, and as a result, there's probably a lot of seepage of revenue, I would imagine. So what are we going to do so that we improve the infrastructure, the infrastructure technology in the hospitals, and if you're doing something about it so that we can improve the services that we provide? Thank you.
No? Yeah. All right. So thank you for those questions. I think let me start with the healthcare question first. There you are. I think a big part of that might have been answered in terms of what was described earlier by the governor, describing the changes in law that we have seen that then are going to mean structural changes on the ground as far as information systems are concerned, digital information and digital health information, and linkages of those systems. So I think with the implementation of those very new laws that were signed in on October 20th, I believe, we're going to see then some of that coming through, if that answers your question. The piece, but I'm happy to also allow Senator, if you want to say a little more about that, I don't know. The piece about the conference, you will usually find all of our information on the Diaspora social media pages. So and I don't know if you guys have it, you can put it up at Diaspora_KE. That is where you will find all the information around events that are coming up. That's how you will know when we have mobile consular services that are coming up, and so on. So that was communicated, and through now collaborations with Chams Media and a few other diaspora media houses, then you'll be able to see that, and with media houses at home as well. But if you want to know what's happening at the State Department, you will usually find it through our social media. That said, because this event is coming up and it's coming in December, we are asking diasporians to continue creating awareness, let each other know, come, this is your conference. As I said, there's a lot for you at this conference, not just the investment opportunities for you to come and see, but also engage with government and ask your questions around land, and ask your questions around tax, We'll have KRA people there if you want to ask them questions, but also to come and have your services done very quickly. We'll have a place at KICC where you can come and get your children's birth certificates, chap, everything will be there. So we do have a program, we do have dates, we usually will send out this information. So if you stay involved and in the conversation, then you're likely to be a part of it. At Diaspora_KE. And that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, I believe even Threads. Yeah. And we are streaming live. Yeah. So did you want to take the question, say a little more about the healthcare piece? No? Yeah, sure.
You see what the 4 acts of parliament have done, which were bills now, they are acts of parliament. They have separated a crowded space. And it's what Governor Mudomi was saying, that maybe it's only in places like in Kenya where you wake up and decide, hii homa vile nimesikia naenda Kenyatta Hospital. While in other, you could have been treated in a different facility, which is not at the level of Kenyatta Hospital, and left the very critically ill people and referrals to go to Kenyatta Hospital. So when that implementation is done, it separates the work for level 4, level 3, level 1, the lowest levels. Primary health care is removed from critical illness. Once that sorting is done, it's like sorting a big crowd of people. You might find 30% of the people in Kenyatta Hospital did not need to go to Kenyatta Hospital. So that you deal with the queue immediately. And then also the provision of that information as government digitizes more information, more of its services. It means that a lot of work that is causing the clogging in the system will actually be sorted by having an effective system. And that once again may not work within a day. Because, can you imagine you didn't see this conference advertised? You've seen it just now. Now, for my mother who goes to hospital, where she wants to go to hospital, when she is sick, by the time you explain to her, she cannot now go to Murang'a County Hospital, Murang'a General Hospital, that she needs to go to Kangema, which is a much lower category of hospital. She will say, no, my diabetes cannot be treated there by so and so, Wamboi hata nishika huyo, naenda kupimwa na daktari mkuu. So it will take some time to transition, but once it is sorted out and people have confidence in the services that are being rendered, maybe then we'll be able to sort out the queues. Now, you notice what happened during COVID, some of the positive things that came out of the COVID experience. When people were now pushed to wash their hands, general hygiene, community health was pushed and promoted to another level. There were less people with flus, less people with colds, less queues in hospital. Actually, the queues have really eased off since COVID, because a lot of that washing of hands, and I think it's a campaign that should actually continue, PS, because a lot of ailments which were just being transmitted courtesy of just dirty hands, picking this, and spreading diseases just like that, they stopped for a season and people stopped going to hospital for small little things. And they started now going to seek for medical attention when you truly need medical attention. So I think as we continue with this education, a lot of public health education, civic education on understanding certain issues, maybe then with this these are problems that are integrated in a sense, and they need to be disaggregated as we continue to advance in our legal systems, in our medical systems, and infrastructural support.
Thank you very much. At this moment, I know we had a lot of questions, especially on Georgia Consulate, Minnesota Consulate. Ambassador alijibu as best as he can, but we still get flack from our people about this consulate. So we'll keep asking, but we'll answer those later on. A lot of information can be found on the website. I know there are people who are asking about those sites like Ardhi Sasa to be put on the Diaspora website. I will make sure that that is done. All other questions, tafadhali, you can direct them to me, to anybody else here. We'll make sure that they get to the PS's office and they can be answered for that. With that being said, that Diaspora conference, actually I timed myself when I was registering it. It took me only 1 minute and 42 seconds to do that. I just got to the picture. And nasikuwa na picha yenye iko na time nzuri. So I stopped. I will upload that once I'm done with my ID to be there. So tafadhali, if you can make it, I know it's holidays, please show up for that conference. At this moment, I'm going to invite Paul Moite to just say a quick vote of thanks for 30 seconds, and then we'll invite Bishop Gigi to close with a word of prayer, and we will be done.
Hello, everybody. I know we are tired, and it's high time we start going. But I'm just going to take 1 minute. Before I say anything, I'll just like to thank Honorable Madam PS. You are an amazing lady. As a chairman, global chairman, I told them that we are going to be meeting you. They told me to express their thanks for what you have done. Who can believe you have hardly been there for a year and the accomplishments we've done? From global, from Georgia, kindly accept our thanks. Madam SG, we have come from very far. When we were forming the Diaspora, she was the pillar. And you know, something we have to give God credit. She helped us form the Diaspora. Remember when we came a delegation to, and the president guaranteed us we are going to get the Diaspora ministry. And what do we get? Somebody ready to run with it. And then the most interesting thing, the ambassador. I called him late at night. I think he may know my number. Call him anytime. He'll always pick your number. And thank you very much. We have no words to thank you. But the most interesting thing, everybody, I have to tell you this. We all want to say thank you, right, to these people. Can you believe they brought themselves here on Thanksgiving? What another opportunity to say thank you to them. Let's clap for them. So on behalf of the organizing committee, Bonandonga, where's this? Donga, Cheraisi, Sam, Alphonse, Kenyanjui, John, and the other Kenyanjui, thank you very much for hosting us. It was such a successful. Choti, yes, how can I forget Warachoti? Thank you very much. The consular service. You know something I had very interesting here for the first time? They are claiming that SG, you belong to Atlanta. Have they given you honorary citizenship?
Give me yesterday.
P.S. Come home. Please come home. Of all the people, home is the best. Okay? From Harvard, she came here. She came to check. She's coming home. So don't ever claim her. She belongs to Boston. And we are going to have the consular services. I'm going to tell them to start getting ready. Bonadonga and the rest are going to give us the groundwork to give the logistics. So we are ready to go with the ambassador and the PS Mutatupatia date, and rest assured, we'll do better than Georgia. Yes. Okay, having said that, I cannot forget to thank Bishop. What can we do? Tunakuja, you gave us word. Unatuombea, unapatia facility. What else can we ask? You and your church, we just want to thank you. You have done incredible. You play behind the scenes. And your goodness, we have seen it. Okay? May God bless you. I hope I won't forget to thank our promoters, Charms, KCB, and all the others. Please, thank you very much. Without your help, I don't think we could have done it. But with your help, it was all possible. Let's do it again. And like somebody said, to have this kind of people on a Thanksgiving weekend, it was not easy. Because you have to be home on Thursday, and then you have to fly back here. Those who flew from far. So the number may not be high, but the attendance was good given the holiday. Having said that, I would like to thank everybody who took their time to come here. I know you had some other better things to do. And I met my cousin. I haven't seen her for a long time. So I was glad to meet her here. So having said that, thank you, everybody. May God bless you and have a nice trip wherever you are going. And please come back and let's meet in Boston when we are doing the consular services. We'll not get you.
I like that. I think you're a politician, but you're a good politician because you keep time. So with that being said, before Bishop comes, we had just small gifts that were supposed to be given to you by Kenya Commercial Bank. They are not making a speech. They're just presenting these gifts to you. Bwana Simon, just real quick, just present those gifts, and then I call in our bishop to close up for us.
Thank you very much. We've had a nice time, and just because of what was said, our leaders have taken a lot of sacrifice to be here with us. And as the main sponsor of the event, we said they can't just leave. We have a small token to appreciate you for the sacrifice and the love that you've shown to Kenyans and the education. We've learned a lot today, especially from Senator. I'm impressed. I'm an economist, and I think you speak like one. So I'm really impressed. So we just want quickly to take 3 minutes to appreciate you, and I'll request my colleagues. I think we'll start with our peers, Madam Roslyn. Welcome. 22 hours on the plane. It's not easy.
All right, so PS Roslyn. Thank you very much. Next, we have our ambassador. So let's get to our ambassador. Thank you. Thank you. Then we have our honorary member, our senator mwenyewe, our OG. Asante sana. Thank you. We also have something for Bishop Gigi. Thank you for all that you've done. And final but not least, our chairperson, our chairman, Engineer Ndonga. Thank you very much. Oh, and I don't know. And for governor, we do have something for governor, so that will be taken to governor for that. So with that being said, it's been an honor to serve you. My name once again is Samuel Iriri. I go by Sami Iriri Manyaga from the coldest place, Minnesota. Come and visit. Kwa hao wote wameinvitiwa kupatiwa citizens wa honorary. Mimi nawapatia nyinyi sasa the masses for free. Ndio tukule baridi pamoja. Bishop, kuja utuombee tumalize.
Allow me to do the benediction. A benediction is like a charge. And you're going to say amen when we're all done. We do it many ways. Diaspora means people who are spread out. It means dispersed people. Dispersed for a reason. Those that are watching online and those who are here, there was a reason why God picked you. There was a reason why you got that visa and someone else was denied. You might think it was because of education or economic pursuit. There was a bigger plan from God. I pray that you will responsibly, as good stewards, use your time, your resources, and your social remittance to uplift the land we call Kenya. And when your days are done as a diaspora, like the story of a sower, where did the seed fall? Are you a thorn? Are you a stone? Or will your seed be eaten by the birds? I pray you are that fertile soil that will make Kenya a greater nation, that will make us proud as people of diaspora. Leave this place energized from the speeches we've been given and an encouragement we've received and the sense of unity and purpose tonight in this forum. Go and serve this God who has sent you outside your country called Kenya, and do it faithfully, because when you go before the king, you will account for this opportunity of being the dispersed people. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And the church says, amen. God bless you all.
We are one nation.
All right. Real quick, we can take a quick photo as they leave out. So this is